Brighton and Hove Albion fans are dreaming of a return to European football. A third straight win in the Premier League tonight will lift them up to second, but manager Fabian Hürzeler is warning his players to stay humble. Ready to humble them, a bottom side Southampton, although Russell Martin's team are hoping to avoid a third straight defeat this evening. The disappointment at defeat by league leaders Liverpool last time out kind of underlines their recent improvement. I think it could well be a shootout on the south coast here at the Amex in your exclusive game night action on Talksport with Sky Sports. And don't forget, you can stream the biggest Premier League games available with no contract on Now, just like Brighton against Southampton live tonight, by searching Now Sports. I'm Hugh Wizencroft. It's already a rock and roll atmosphere inside the Amex. We've had flames in the air, a huge light show in front of us. Martin Keown, Arsenal legend, alongside me. Are we going to get rock and roll football to go with it?
Well, I'm pretty certain we are, because there's a great opportunity, isn't there, for Brighton tonight, recognising they can go second in the table. I expect them to come out all guns blazing. We'll see a rear guard of Southampton, 5 at the back, probably sitting quite deep and trying to catch them out on the break, with Archer playing up top tonight on his own. Do you try and carry the game to Brighton if you're Southampton? Do you feel like you try and get yourself on the front foot, or will it be more of a counter-attacking game from them? Well, I think we're expecting to see a counter-attacking game from Southampton. It's whether they've got enough. Can they survive the sort of the football that's going to come their way? I'm really looking forward actually to seeing Matoma. What a wonderful talent he is when he runs at people. It's a frightening prospect. You know, I know they've got one of them, Tyler Dibbling, in their own camp, Southampton, but they've got to keep giving the ball. He's the one player actually who plays without fear in this Southampton team. As the players walk out onto the pitch here at the Amex, huge plumes of smoke go into the air in the rainbow colours. There are rainbow flags in front of us today. This game, part of the Rainbow Laces campaign with the Premier League, and a huge banner across the Amex Stadium which said, "Football is everyone's game." And we, of course, reiterate that stance here on Talksport. You mentioned Tyler Dibbling, Martin Keown. Very quickly, in the Brighton front line, hugely impressed by João Pedro, involved in 6 goals in his past 5 Premier League games. Just making a huge leap since his time at Watford after that £30 million move. Is he going to be a key player here this evening? Without doubt. I mean, it's about giving him the platform to be able to play his football. We saw that at Watford. He's come here. I think the manager, there's a nice relationship with him and the manager. He keeps teasing out the best of him. You can see when he celebrates, "I'm back," he said a few weeks ago when he scored, and he really is in top form right now. But there's a succession of players around him, and they're all fighting, aren't they, for that headline. They buy into it, in terms of, like, you're okay, you might not be here for that long because you might get sold, but I'd like to see this group of players stay together for a little bit, and let's see if they can win a trophy of some sort. Huge aspirations at Brighton. Russell Martin, by the way, says he'll have about 100 friends and family here, the Southampton boss, obviously born and raised in Brighton, but he says his family are going to be the ones giving him the most stick. I'm not sure a certain group of Southampton fans would agree with that, because there is going to be huge pressure on him to end their losing run soon. Out to avoid a third straight Premier League defeat against a buoyant Brighton side who are aiming for a third win in a row and a place in the Premier League's top 2. Remember, Sheffield United versus Sunderland at Bramall Lanes live on Talksport 2. But here at the Amex, your game night exclusive action sees Brighton and Hove Albion welcome Southampton in the company of the former Arsenal, Brighton and England defender Martin Keown and Talksport's Nigel Adderley.
Thank you, Hugh. Good evening once again. For much of the last century, Southampton were able to look down on their South Coast rivals from a position of superiority which looked set in stone. But for a variety of reasons, things change, and the Saints arrive here tonight enjoying their worst ever start to a Premier League season, and Brighton are enjoying their best, as a club which is progressive in so many areas are dreaming of reaching new heights. A win here this evening and they will be second in the table. A reminder of the two teams once again. 2 changes for Brighton from their victory at Bournemouth last week. Joel Veltman is unavailable, so Tariq Lamptey starts his first game in the Premier League this season. Carlos Baleba was red carded at the Vitality, so Matt O'Reilly comes back into midfield, and the club captain Lewis Dunk is back on the bench following injury, along with Yakuna Minte. So it's Verbruggen in goal, Lamptey, Van Hecke, Igor and Estepinian the back four. O'Reilly and Ayali holding in midfield. Rutter, João Pedro, Mitoma and Welbeck in attack. 4 changes for the Saints after that defeat against Liverpool when they led in the second half but ultimately succumbed to Mohamed Salah. Joe Lumley makes his Premier League debut at the age of 29, the 4th choice goalkeeper, but he replaces Alex McCarthy. Russell Martin revealing to us on Talksport in the tunnel before kickoff that McCarthy not fit enough to start. Adam Lallana is also injured, Paul Onuachu is not involved, and Ryan Fraser is on the bench, with Ryan Manning, Cameron Archer and Yukinari Sugawara all coming into the team. Lumley in goal, Walker-Peters, Harwood-Bellis and Stevens the back three. Sugawara and Manning the wing-backs. Dibbling, Downs, Fernandez and Armstrong behind Archer in attack. And Southampton in their pink shirts attacking the goal away to our left in the first half. Brighton in their famous blue and white stripes, and game night is underway here on Talksport. And it's another full house at the Amex, and the home fans are expectant, with second place up for grabs in the Premier League, as Manning has it for Southampton all the way back towards Lumley, and Lumley given an unexpected opportunity. Of course, Gavin Bazunu and Aaron Ramsdale are both injured, and Alex McCarthy not fit enough to start, so Lumley, who has not played a league game for 18 months at any level, he comes in this evening. Southampton looking to build now. Fernandez with a good ball wide to the far side. Sugawara with the opportunity to break down the right. Now the dangerous Tyler Dibbling, but the cross in is blocked by Igor, and Brighton will bring the ball clear.
Yeah, you're just talking about the goalkeeper there. Cheers, thanks very much. You know, he hasn't played, has he? Much football, the goalkeeper, so a big test for him, but Southampton has settled quite well in this game so far, passing it around. Early days, of course. Interesting, Lamptey at fullback. Veltman's been, I think, a really underrated player, actually. Not playing tonight, but interesting to see Lamptey get a chance. I love watching him play when he gets forward. He's a great talent.
And at the age of 24, he is a player who has established himself in the Premier League and maybe has to just go again now. There are a number of significant games in the Women's European Championship qualifiers going on. The playoff finals are underway. The first legs this evening, and in Cardiff it is Wales 1, the Republic of Ireland 1 at half-time in the first leg. That game kicked off at 7:15. Elsewhere, at half-time, Northern Ireland trail Norway by 3-0, and with half an hour played, Scotland and Finland are goalless at the moment. The second leg's to be played next week, but of course all those home nations and the Republic of Ireland looking to join England, the holders, in the finals next year, as Southampton come forward again now. Archer with a cross into the penalty area, and it's helped away at the near post by O'Reilly, but Southampton have settled well here, Martin.
They have, and they're trying to play some football. We talked, didn't we, about playing the ball forward, and that's what they're looking to do. And you look at maybe that midfield for Brighton's a little bit lightweight. It needs to be tested. Ask the questions. I mean, everything's going well for Brighton right now, but O'Reilly, you look at him, he's been out injured, he hasn't played much football. Let's test him in that midfield.
Lumley, 15 yards outside his penalty area, plays it wide to the far side than Harwood-Bellis. A good ball down the line, and that's another opportunity for Archer to gather now down the right. Quickly taking over is Sugawara. Low cross into the penalty area, but there was no one waiting in a pink shirt, and it's gathered by Verbruggen. 3 minutes played here on Talksport. Brighton 0, Southampton 0. Brighton's best ever start to a Premier League season. 6 wins, 4 draws and 2 defeats. Southampton's worst start with only 4 points, 5 points adrift of safety, and only Everton 30 years ago under Joe Royle, the old dogs of war, have survived from a similar position at this stage of the season. Mitoma plays a sharp ball back, but it's quickly played over the top left-hand side for Brighton. Estepinian will gather. The early cross into the penalty area was looking for the run of Welbeck, but it's cleared away in the end. But it's quickly won back by Brighton on the edge of the penalty area. João Pedro looking to pick his way through. His cross actually only finds Rutter, bounces into his chest. It now comes out to the edge of the penalty area. Welbeck looking to work the 1-2, bursting into the penalty area now, but the back heel from him doesn't quite come off in a very tight area, and it's gone behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, nice little ball from O'Reilly there. Just flicks it into the path again, not clearing their danger. Southampton, a couple of opportunities to do that. And you can see this little flick from O'Reilly, just watching the replay, and Welbeck coming on to it. It's an impossible angle for him there to shoot from.
And it's an indication of the injury problems Danny Welbeck had during his career, as it's almost given away by Southampton. A pass play back across the penalty area by Manning. It took a deflection almost into the path of João Pedro, and we almost saw there Southampton's problems in a nutshell.
Exactly that.
It's cleared away on this near side. They have conceded 8 goals, a third of the total, with unforced errors so far this season. They're the lowest scores in the Premier League with 9, and they're the second highest in terms of conceding goals. And they've got 3 central defenders tonight, but if you play crossfield balls like that, they will have problems, as Archer looks to burst into the penalty area beyond Igor. Igor gets the final touch, appeals for offside, but it's gone behind for a Southampton corner with 5 minutes played.
Archer's causing trouble. Interesting there, that was just 2 passes we talked about, and they've just gone straight into midfield, straight pass down the middle, and Archer's running through there. Igor gets a deflection on that, puts it out for a corner, but he looks to be in really good form tonight, Archer. Willing runner into the channels.
A couple of Premier League goals so far for the former Aston Villa striker. Ryan Manning will take the corner kick on the far side, followed Russell Martin from Swansea in the Championship. Harwood Bellis and Stevens looking to offer nuisance value inside the penalty area. Manning with the in-swinger towards Harwood Bellis. It's cleared initially, fired back through the crowd by Fernandez. It's blocked, and now he will have to retreat because Brighton come forward quickly. The ball down the centre, looking for Matoma. Matoma's won it, and he puts it wide. Sugawara there with the error on the edge of the penalty area, presenting it to Matoma, who seemed to try and round Lumley, but in the end the angle was too tight. He puts it wide, but Southampton almost gifting Brighton the lead once again.
Yeah, another opportunity there, wasn't it? Sugawara there. He just literally, I mean, look, you play the game there, he's got no awareness, he puts it in the pass of Matoma, he has to take it on quickly. Probably could have done better with the quality he has. He misses the target, puts it in the side netting. Should have been 1-0.
6 minutes played. If you want commentary on the big Championship game this evening, Sheffield United against Sunderland, if there's a winner in that game, they'll be top of the table. Then retune to Talksport 2. The best way to follow both of the games is to download the Talksport app, and you can swipe between both commentaries at your leisure, as Southampton win a free kick in the left back area, taken quickly by Manning, and Downs will try and bring it forward now from the base of midfield, finding Dibbling, who loves to be a dribbler, and he's really lit up the difficulties that Southampton have had, but now they've given the ball away. João Pedro spins and plays a good ball wide to this near side, and Rutter breaking into the penalty area down the right. The low ball in doesn't find João Pedro this time, and Southampton will try and play the way out, but there's that ball was switched wide there to this near side. Russell Martin just in front of us, turned away in real frustration as Dibbling tries to break down the centre now, looks for a free kick, nothing given, and the giant Dutchman Van Hecker will stride forward now for Brighton, wide towards the far side. And at the moment you just feel that Brighton can pick off Southampton whenever they want to.
Well, there was a little counter-attack there, wasn't there, from Dibley, and Lamptey got round him, 4 or 5 players, and he just took it off him. If you've got any thoughts of a counter-attacking play, just think again, because we'll take it off you. Look at all the players that Brighton have got in this half, in the opposition's half. It's unbelievable the way they're set out right now.
Welbeck, who is starting his 14th consecutive Premier League game for the first time in his career, as Rutter comes forward now. Southampton have given the ball away again. Rutter cutting infield onto the left foot, fires the ball in just wide. Lumley, a spectator there as it whizzed wide. But Brighton knocking on the door once again with less than 10 minutes played.
Yeah, we're saying about the way that they map out their players high up the pitch. Manning giving it away there quite feebly, and then Rutter cuts inside, 1 player, then 2, and he just puts it past the post. I think once he gets through that kind of good work there, you're expecting him, aren't you, to hit the target.
Well, Brighton with 3 really good opportunities as Walker-Peters is out-muscled on this near side by Ayari. Quickly infield from Rutter, but he can't find Welbeck. Wearing the captain's armband once again. Southampton will try and bring the ball away, and there's a free kick given for a foul midway inside the Southampton half. You're listening to Brighton against Southampton on Talksport with Sky Sports. And don't forget, you can stream the biggest Premier League games available with no contract now, like this game, live right now. Search Now Sports.
I think Dibling's just happy just to take a free kick there, so they can just calm it all down, just have a little bit of chance to breathe. They're actually being strangled here, suffocated by the press game from Brighton, but Southampton they tease you, don't they? They make you feel that you can get that ball, and they keep giving it away.
Harwood Bellis wide to the far side, and Sugawara. 4 changes made by Russell Martin, at least one of them enforced. The injury to Adam Lallana. Alex McCarthy is on the bench after returning to the team in goal for the match against Liverpool, as Brighton concede another free kick for a shove on Archer. Estepinian with the foul just inside the Brighton half. And the free kick is taken quickly by Harwood Bellis. Now Walker-Peters into Armstrong, who was barely featured in the opening 10 minutes. But now Fernandes finding Manning on the overlap down the left. The early cross into the penalty area, right through the 6-yard box, and that was begging to be tucked away.
Yeah, and that's how they should play. Get the ball wide and whip it into the box. That's what Manning's good at, is whipping in crosses. Just keep it simple.
Chilly but not bitterly cold here in Sussex this evening. And Brighton have a throw-in in the left-back area into João Pedro. He's almost given the ball away to Archer, but Brighton play the ball out with confidence. Here is Igor, wide to this near side, and Jan-Paul van Hecke. And the tiny figure of Tarek Lamptey. And now the considerably larger Bart Verbruggen, the goalkeeper. And again, Brighton are able to string together a dozen passes, and Welbeck with a smart turn away from Harwood Bellis. He was then caught by Flynn Downs on the halfway line, and Rob Jones, the referee, shows him the game's first yellow card.
Yeah, cynical foul. Welbeck, wonderful move though. Great ball actually from the goalkeeper. It has to start with the goalkeeper, by the way, if you're going to play out from the back. Downs just taking their one for the team, really. He's down though in quite a lot of pain here, Danny Welbeck.
And already the Irishman we were talking about before kick-off, Evan Ferguson, is warming up. And the Brighton medical team, right on the halfway line, have just come out to have a look at him. And it was a cynical challenge, as Martin was saying. And Evan Ferguson is still a very popular figure here. Of course, he really burst onto the scene a couple of years ago, but he's found action harder to come by in recent times. But that's an indication of how much progress Brighton have made as a club. Don't forget, over on Talksport 2, Sheffield United against Sunderland with Adam Bridge and Courtney Sweetman-Kirk. Tomorrow, Talksport 2 at 12:30 has Watford against Queen's Park Rangers with Faker Others, Joe Shannon and Neil Redfern. Here on Talksport, Game Day Live with Adrian Durham. Darren Bent and Scott Minto begins at 1 o'clock with all the goals as they go in from the Premier League, the EFL and the FA Cup second round. And we have Forest against Ipswich on Talksport 2 with Ian Danter and Perry Groves. Our live and exclusive Premier League commentary at 3 o'clock. And exclusively from the FA Cup on Sunday, 12 noon start. Kettering, who caused a real upset, beating Northampton in the first round. They're at home to Doncaster. And we also have on Talksport 2 on Sunday at 3, Derby against Sheffield Wednesday, the Sunday session with Sam Matterface here on Talksport. We'll keep you up to date with all of the action. And of course, it is Liverpool against Manchester City. As Brighton, now Welbeck is back on his feet. Look to try and build from the free kick with Van Hecke. In towards Ayadi on the edge of the penalty area. Now Lamptey. Van Hecker again. There is considerable movement from the Brighton strikers, and it's a break into the penalty area from Ayadi, found by Joao Pedro with a clever ball around the corner, but this time it's cleared away by Harwood Bellis, but one back by Estepinian, and then the challenge by Fernandez on this near side, and it will be a free kick. Yassin Ayadi, the player he caught.
Interesting, the contrast of styles and the passing and the technique here for Brighton. It's they punch it to each other. It's very definite, very positive, very clean. Whereas Southampton still, you feel, aren't they? They still haven't got the confidence you need really to play at this level right now.
Now Rutter spins and finds Lamptey on this near side, the Brighton right. 14 minutes played, goalless here on game night in the Premier League on Talksport. Ayadi, everything to his left, including Igor, the central defender, who now has time to bring the ball deep into Southampton territory. Lofted wide to Lamptey again on this near side. Good to see him back following injury, and he will find Van Hecker. And in the end, there is good pressure from Southampton here. Armstrong doing the pressing, but Brighton had the opportunity to play through that. And here is Rutter now down the right hand side, coming in field again. O'Reilly ahead of him on the edge of the penalty area. Joao Pedro finding Ayadi, driving towards the edge of the box now, onto the right foot, wide towards Rutter on the right. They're queuing up for the cross. Rutter goes for goal, and he hits the post with a brilliant curling left-footed effort.
Yeah, brilliant. Manning can't get near him. He steps inside again, Rutter, and he rifles it. Edge of the box, just inside the box. Wonderful effort. But Yara, though, the way they came onto that ball and set that move up, just as a spark in that midfield for Brighton.
Now Dibbling. Tricky dribble from him once again, and he was caught there. And it will be a yellow card for the retreating O'Reilly just inside the Southampton half, and that's the Tyler Dibbling that has really enchanted the Southampton fans so far.
And that's what he has to do, Dibbling, when he gets that ball. Every opportunity, I said to you, he's the bravest one. He wants to run with it. He's making yards with this, and in the end, it's a really late challenge, by the way, from O'Reilly. He's rightfully been booked.
O'Reilly was the victim of a horrible challenge in the EFL Cup tie here against Crawley, which really stalled his Brighton career right at the start. But Tyler Dibbling, the only teenager to play all 12 games in the Premier League so far this season, and at times he has been
he's in that
straw
little,
for the Southampton fans to clutch at.
Yeah, he's in that little pocket of space because the wing-back gets down the right-hand side. He just comes in to where he is now.
Here is Dibbling, and a good ball to find Archer. The shot is blocked, and it will spin away off Igor for another Southampton corner with 16 minutes played here on Talksport, and it's goalless, but Southampton causing problems once again.
Yeah, Matoma been forced all the way back, and then Dibbling's free, and it's a little 1-2 really. Spins on it. Good play from Southampton.
And it's been a really good game so far. And Southampton have had their moments, and that will encourage their fans who are massed behind the goal away to our right-hand side. And they gave Joe Lumley a great ovation when he arrived just before kick-off. Manning with an in-swinging corner, high to the far post. Harwood Bellis was arriving late, but it's cleared. It's quickly recovered by Dibbling on the edge of the penalty area, but it's the high-kicking Estepinian who clears the ball away for Brighton. Now Joao Pedro. And he's got support from Matoma to his left. The challenge comes in from Stevens, and he wins the ball, but his ball down the line doesn't find a pink shirt, and it will be an opportunity for Brighton to build again. Currently Brighton 0, Southampton 0. For the latest odds, head to Ladbrokes. Right now you can get Brighton at 5-2 on. The draw 18-5, Southampton 5-1. All thanks to Ladbrokes. 18+, begambleaware.org. O'Reilly sliding the back pass all the way through to the Dutch number one, Bart Verbruggen. Just going back to that point you made before, Martin, about confidence on the ball. You say that Brighton are really fizzing the ball around, and maybe Southampton are a bit more indifferent at times. How do you build that confidence?
Well, of course, it's when if results give you that. But, it's just like, I think, obviously, technique on the training ground. We spent hours with Arsene Wenger, keeping the ball on the carpet. Another one there, Dibbling. Look, Dibbling's causing an issue in that little pocket. It's clever, and I think it's coming from the system, because the wing-back's flying down that wing, and he just steps inside. He can play, the boy. But I say collectively, Brighton do look better.
Another Southampton free kick. And Tyler Dibbling again has won it. And another youngster, Matthias Fernandes. The £15 million signing from Sporting Lisbon. He will take it. Scored last week in the defeat against Liverpool. Fernandes with the free kick, but it's straight into the arms of Bart Verbruggen. But Armstrong is just stepping across the goalkeeper there to prevent the early release, and that's clearly something Russell Martin has spotted. Now Estepinian down the left-hand side for Brighton, unbeaten at home so far this season, 3 wins and 3 draws. And Southampton with 6 successive defeats away from home, with only 3 goals scored. They've never lost all 7 of their opening away games to a season in their long history. Now Van Hecke. Wide to Lamptey on this near side, and he may be forced to go back to Verbruggen, and this time Verbruggen puts his foot through it, high up to the halfway line. Rutte tangling with Walker-Peters, looked a bit of a mismatch, and as a result Walker-Peters hauls down the former Leeds man, and it will be a free kick on halfway.
Just interesting, just watching the contrast there. Verbruggen there just trying to develop. It's a lovely little ball that's clipped in. I know he has to, but there's the decision, isn't it? Just to play it a bit longer. Matoma, interestingly, when that ball is on the right-hand side of their defence, he comes all the way over from the left-hand side just to give an extra body on this right-hand side of the pitch for Brighton.
Nearly 21 minutes played. Brighton 0, Southampton 0. Also goalless in the first half of tonight's FA Cup second round tie between Harrogate Town and Gainsborough Trinity, and also still goalless in the Championship between Sheffield United and Sunderland. That game is live for you over on the home of the EFL, Talksport 2. As Van Hecke has it for Brighton once again. Challenged by Armstrong, but it's a high raking ball wide to the far side, and Matoma. And now the early cross into the penalty area from Estepinian was flicked on by the head of O'Reilly right on the edge of the area, and it loops harmlessly onto the roof of the netting, and it will be a goal kick for Southampton.
Well, it's going to be some header if he scores from there, but it gives you an idea though. O'Reilly, he wants to play high in that midfield. He's pushing forward whenever he gets the chance.
Walker-Peters looking to bring the ball out once again, finding Armstrong on this near side, but Lamptey quickly snaps in with a challenge just in front of us, and it will be a throw-in for Southampton. We get a very good view of the 2 technical areas here. We are sat just behind them at the Amex Stadium. Russell Martin is a lone figure on the edge of his, and at the moment Fabian Hürzeler is content just to sit down and watch the proceedings ahead of him, as Lamptey does well to recover the ball on this near side, but in fact it had just gone out of play, so Southampton will have a throw-in on this near side a couple of yards from the corner flag.
I was just going to say that was wonderful play. Just went out of play though. Lamptey, nice to see him back in here. He needs to get tighter here.
Armstrong from the throw-in with the ball back towards the edge of the penalty area. It's quickly gathered by João Pedro. He is fouled, and Rob Jones has given the free kick. And it's interesting, in this sort of situation there are always Brighton players demanding the quick restart, but they're on it straight away.
Yeah, you can see Fernandes and Downs though wanting to get around Pedro. They see him as a problem. He's dropping, isn't he, in that number 10 position. Difficult. Nice little ball out to Matoma, by the way.
Matoma now tangling with Sugawara, and he just hauls him down, and it will be a free kick in the battle of the 2 Japanese internationals on that far side. As always, there is a heavy Japanese presence in the press box here whenever Brighton play, and with Southampton here as well. That's been doubled this evening.
Joe Lumley there just putting that ball. That's the ironic cheer you got there from the crowd. Just put it in the stand.
Well, Lumley, the latest goalkeeper Southampton have used this season. And when they're trying to develop a style and playing out from the back, it can't be easy when the goalkeeper is changing with such regularity. 3rd different goalkeeper in as many Premier League games as Matoma has it now on the far side, looking to tease Sugawara. Back towards Estepinian. The early cross in. Welbeck's header at the near post, and it's just wide. But it was another good opportunity for the Seagulls.
Very good effort again. And Danny Welbeck here will be wondering why that didn't hit necessarily the back of the net. Nobody really picking him up. Look, he's in loads of space there. And he doesn't have to work for his space. He's got time there, but it's on that right-hand side. Maybe not his favourite, and he just goes past the upright.
The latest in the first legs of the Women's European Championship playoff finals. Northern Ireland now 4 goals down at home to Norway. Still 1-1 early in the second half between Wales and the Republic of Ireland. And it's 0-0 in the Scotland game. Armstrong coming forward now on this near side for Southampton. A low cross into the penalty area is repelled by Lamptey at the expense of a corner.
Good battle that. Armstrong initially getting in behind him. Nice little ball into the space. I'm just looking at here to see if he was offside. It doesn't matter now. It's definitely a corner for Southampton, and then Lamptey gets back and gets the block.
Still goalless at Bramall Lane in the Championship, live on Talksport 2, and also in the night's FA Cup tie in Harrogate. Fernandez with the corner kick for Southampton on this near side there left. Another in-swinger towards the near post, and it's headed away initially. But here is Walker-Peters with another ball in, but Lamptey is there to guide the ball further clear. But it's quickly recovered by Walker-Peters. And now Sugawara falls back to Walker-Peters and all the way back to Joe Lumley, who is just on the edge of the centre circle. The Southampton goalkeeper, but no real press from Brighton at this stage. And Taylor Harwood-Bellis, the former Manchester City youngster, has the opportunity to find Walker-Peters. And here is Fernandez again, but he's inviting the challenge from Ayari, but Walker-Peters does well to win it back. Rides the first challenge of Ayari, but not the second from Rutter. And it will be another Southampton free kick. And I'm sure with 25 minutes played, Russell Martin will be fairly satisfied here, because after an early flurry of opportunities given to Brighton by Southampton, they played well.
Yeah, and they're starting to compete. And just saw there, they try to play an early free kick. That's what you want. Get your head down and play, guys. You belong at this level.
Manning and Fernandez over the free kick here. And Brighton have pulled every single blue and white striped shirt back behind the ball.
It's a really high line as well, by the way. Just 5 or 10 yards outside the edge of the box. I'd have been sitting on the edge of the box here.
Manning with the free kick, high to the far post, and Verbruggen using that room because of the high line to claim almost on the edge of the penalty area.
Yeah,
bolted out to the far side, looking for Matoma, but Sugawara with an excellent covering challenge.
Yeah, good battle. Fellow countryman out there. Sugawara sticking to his task. Matoma is no slouch, by the way.
Absolutely not. And Sugawara really stepping up to play in the Premier League, having spent time with RZ in the Eredivisie. And talking of Dutch football, if you missed the news earlier on, Ruud van Nistelrooy is the new manager of Leicester City, although it will be a watching brief for their game tomorrow. Van Hecker, good ball from him for Brighton, wide to this near side, and Jorginho Rutter caught by Walker-Peters, and it will be a free kick wide on the right hand side, midway inside the Southampton half.
I actually think that's good defending there from Walker-Peters. He's getting in after the ball. He's not letting Rutter dictate. Okay, just gets it a little bit wrong there. But actually, up to now, Rutter's dictated to far too much. Manning's given him far too much space, and Walker-Peters has come all the way out of that left-hand side of that back three to try and take charge of this.
Ayari, good ball wide to this near side, and O'Reilly. Now Lamptey with the early cross into the penalty area, stooping header from Matoma, and Brighton have the lead. Southampton creaked once too often, and it's Kaoru Matoma who comes up with the opening goal on a night when the Seagulls should be flying high up into second place. Brighton 1, Southampton 0.
Well, it's a wonderful finish, but Lamptey comes onto this ball. I mean, when he gets this, you can see it come out here, he just whips it into the space, and it just bounces into that, just in front of the penalty spot. And Matoma comes all the way over 20 yards. He makes that run into the space, and he just heads it into the back of the net. It's a beautiful finish, but it's anticipation. Watch it bounce, and there's only one winner there. Poor defending. We've just been talking about his fellow countryman. He's nowhere near him there. Matoma far too quick, far too alive, and he's put Brighton one up.
Well, Russell Martin looking incredibly frustrated on the edge of the technical area. Is it Sugawara's mistake, or should one of the three central defenders have been aware of that as well?
Sugawara there, because he's actually up against him, isn't he? He's enjoyed the battle, so just step inside and pick up. We've seen Welbeck though with a header, free header in the 6-yard box, you know, just a bit earlier. Lots of possession again. You look at the stats, but it's the team that's more clinical and had more chances is Brighton.
29 minutes play, Brighton a goal up. And is it a case as well, I'll ask you as a central defender, if you've got three, is there a risk that there is less acceptance to take responsibility because it's somebody else's problem?
Oh, without doubt. It's always a problem. You know, who's going to take responsibility? There's three of us, but, you know, no one's picking up in the end. But I think the wing-back there has got to stick to that task of picking him up. Really pleased for Lamptey. I thought he started this game exceptionally well. Another really good ball there he's just put into the front man.
And now Walker-Peters with a heavy challenge, and bearing in mind he has been on the radar of the referee now, and it's a yellow card for him.
I think that's a little bit harsh, because I think Rutter has come off to receive the ball. We're just looking at a replay here. Okay, he's holding, he pulls him down. Is that a booking? He's going to come over here, the referee, to have a little word with Russell Martin. In fact, it's both managers he's speaking to here.
Oh, it's a yellow card. I'm not sure to which one.
I think it's Fabian Hassan Hurt. Yeah.
Well, John Busby is the fourth official, and he is dwarfed by both Hürzeler.
It's Hürzeler, yeah, sorry. Yeah. For some reason I was throwing in an old manager for Southampton.
Over on Talksport 2, it's still goalless between Sheffield United and Sunderland, but Michael Cooper, the Blades goalkeeper, has saved a penalty from Patrick Roberts, so it's still goalless there. And Cooper has not conceded a goal at Bramall Lane now in over 7 hours of play, and that's clearly a record he's keen to keep hold of. He saved the penalty, and it's still 0-0 over on Talksport 2. Here we have had a goal. Brighton leading Southampton by 1-0. Kaoru Matoma with an excellent finish, his third of the season. His goal against Bournemouth last week was his first since the opening day, so that's his first here as well at the Amex in the current campaign. And if you're Russell Martin, what do you do now?
Well, you try and get the ball off Brighton. You can't get it at the moment. Van Hecker, by the way, just watching him, he does play a lovely diagonal ball, doesn't he? That gives really good variation to their play.
Now Downs treads on the ball on the edge of the penalty area, and it was almost given away by Southampton again, but in the end a free kick has been given, and Southampton are just beginning to rock here, and they could do with just a 5-minute spell to calm things down. Free kick on the edge of the area, and yet again they have failed to keep a clean sheet this season, and that is the 25th goal they have conceded. And if you're averaging over 2 goals a game in the back of your own net, it becomes very difficult when you don't score enough.
Yeah, and you know, you put yourselves in the shoes of the players that are on the pitch. Walker-Peters there, he's coming out with the ball. He hasn't really got anything on. The two midfield players, one of them's got to be sideways on, and they're not. They just allow themselves just basically to pop it into them and give it you straight back. That's not what you're looking for.
So the yellow card for Fabian Hürzeler. Interestingly, Rob Jones, this referee, sent off the Brighton coach during the draw here against Nottingham Forest earlier this season. Now Archer, all the way back to Lumley again.
Good ball.
And he's picked out Fernandez, who has the opportunity to cross the halfway line. Left-hand side. Now Manning. Dibbling coming short, but Manning in the end almost runs into Walker-Peters, and they contrive to give the ball away, and Brighton can sweep forward now on the counter-attack. O'Reilly finding Matoma, and here is Welbeck on the edge of the penalty area, but he heads into traffic and Southampton will bring the ball clear. And Dibbling with a lovely, sumptuous turn away from 2 challengers, and then the third as well. Rutter, the player who has gone down, and eventually it is Van Hecke who halts the flying teenager, and Downs, who is on a yellow card, clashes with O'Reilly, and O'Reilly very quickly calls for the yellow card, and he should be booked for that.
We've got players lying everywhere, haven't we, at the moment? I think the trainer's coming on for Rutter. I think he's gone after Dibbling, made a challenge. I think he's come down on his shoulder. By the way, Dibbling really runs well with the ball, and look, he's opened up his shoulder there, Rutter. I've seen a replay of that.
Well, O'Reilly, who was also on a yellow card, of course, so calling for another one for an opponent is not the wisest policy.
Well, he did smack into the back of him, so I think he's got every right to go down, but it was a little bit delayed, wasn't it?
Absolutely. 35 minutes played. Brighton at the moment are second in the Premier League table, 6 points behind Liverpool on the in-game table, ahead of Manchester City, Chelsea and Arsenal.
Do we need to adjust our sets back home? Did you just say second?
Absolutely. Well, they deserve to be as well. If you look at the results they've got, they've come from 2 goals down here to beat Spurs. They've beaten Manchester City coming from behind.
Absolutely agree with you.
They are there on merit, and at the moment, having got into the Europa League last season, their fans all around this stadium will be dreaming of the Champions League. But we highlighted that Japanese confrontation on the far side, Matoma and Sugawara, and that was pivotal for the goal we've seen so far.
Yeah, Matoma just hypnotised his mate, didn't he? And he was sleeping when the ball came in the box.
And it's a free kick after all of the treatment. Jorginho Rutter is ready to come back on, and again Van Hecke sweeping it wide to the far side, and Estepinian, Matoma almost beckoning the Southampton players towards him like a matador, then into the path of O'Reilly, but it's won back by Stevens, and Fernandez now with the opportunity to break forward towards Archer down the right hand side. It's a good ball as well. He's got support from Armstrong inside the penalty area, but the cross in from Archer is blocked at the near post by Igor, and it will be a Southampton corner.
It's definitely the out ball, isn't it? That Archer making that run, and it's quite a wide run. He's forced quite wide. If he could be just a little bit more central, he might be able to have an opportunity to shoot. And he's trying to whip that into the box for his colleague coming on the end of it, and they just get a foot there, put it out for another corner.
You're listening to Brighton against Southampton on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has vans of all shapes and sizes, so if you've got a plan, they've got a van. 36 minutes played, corner for Southampton on the far side. Ryan Manning will take it. Brighton a goal up. Manning high to the far post, and it's dropped this time by Bruggen. Challenged by Harwood Bellis, but no hint of a foul. Bruggen just fell to win it, and now it's swung into the penalty area, having been won by Downs on this near side, but straight into the arms of the grateful goalkeeper.
Yeah, Van Hecke was quite pleased with that because he was trying to overplay. Centre halves, do what you're good at. Thought he was like a winger there and loses possession, and it's whipped back in the box, but not enough on the cross.
Sugawara wins it back for the Saints on the far side. Now Archer again, but Estepinian picks his pocket and quickly finds Welbeck. Wide to the far side again, and João Pedro. And when Brighton start moving on the counter-attack, they are a very fluid, feared unit at the moment. Van Hecke. Infield again to Ayari, who is always keen to win the ball in those sorts of areas, but now he's given the ball away. Armstrong, the shot from Archer on the edge of the penalty area, blocked by Van Hecke. Appeals from Archer, half-hearted maybe for handball, but nothing given. And O'Reilly will bring it clear now for Brighton. And here is Matoma. He's isolated. Harwood Bellis, he can attack him now down the left-hand side. He's got support from Estepinian. High into the penalty area. Rutter shaping for the header, but never really got the contact. And then Lamptey quickly closing down Manning, but Brighton do have the throw-in on this near side. They're scenting a second goal 7 minutes before half-time. Rutter back towards Ayari. And now Estepinian again.
Yari was a player I really wanted to talk about because he kind of explodes into that midfield. It's a bit ungainly looking, isn't it, him and O'Reilly, but it's very effective. And he's very quick-footed.
And he's really benefited from Brighton's policy of sending players out on loan. If you watch games in the Championship, you're never more than 6 feet away from a Brighton player on loan at some club, and he played at Coventry last season and really played well. Now O'Reilly finding Lamptey, who can attack down the right-hand side. The early cross into the penalty area, swept away by Harwood-Bellis, recovered by O'Reilly again. Rutter inside the penalty area on the right. Lamptey in support. Rutter hits the byline, drives it in low, but it's blocked by Walker-Peters, and it will be a corner to Brighton.
Yeah, Walker-Peters again there, really good defending. Needed to be Rutter in a 1v1 situation. Again, Lamptey putting the ball into the opponent's box, and so many bodies in the final third. I'm counting 5-6 players from a Brighton point of view.
Corner kick on this near side for Brighton, and Southampton at the moment could really do with half time. O'Reilly will take it high towards the far post again, guided away by the head of Stevens, but João Pedro will gather and find Estepinian. João Pedro again, and Matoma, the goal scorer, takes over. Wide to Estepinian. You just feel that Brighton are teasing Southampton here, looking to bring them on, and that's the case as the shot is fired in from João Pedro on the edge of the penalty area. Spins into the path of Walker-Peters, who gives Lumley a back pass to deal with there, with two Brighton players around them. He does well to clear.
Yeah, he threaded it between two players actually, and he had millimetres to spare there. Very good.
Fernandes finding Downs for Southampton in their pink shirts this evening. Back towards Harwood-Bellis, who plays the short ball to Walker-Peters and then berates a player further upfield for not offering the movement for him.
Well, it's just what we've been talking about. And look at Manning there. He's put his player. He's gone back 40 yards.
Chris Mepham has been sent off for Sunderland in the big game in the Championship. Over on Talksport 2 for fouling Tyrese Campbell on the edge of the penalty area as the last man. So it's still goalless in our commentary game over on our sister station, the home of the EFL. But Sunderland, having missed a penalty, are now down to 10 men. 4 minutes to play in the first half here. Brighton 1, Southampton 0. The Seagulls heading second in the table, and the Saints will remain nailed to the bottom. Here is Welbeck now on the edge of the penalty area, briefly beyond Stevens, but Stevens recovers well, and now it's played wide to this near side. And Manning, Stevens stabs it back into his path, and Saints are rather hemmed in now, so all Stevens can do is head the ball away, and then it's nodded down by Archer straight to Welbeck on the edge of the penalty area. Matoma nearly links up with João Pedro, and at times Southampton are causing themselves all sorts of problems.
It looked absolutely frantic, and you said a really good word there, stabbed, and it was no care on it at all.
Now Dibbling wide to the far side, and Sugawara, but the cross into the penalty area doesn't find a teammate. But here is Manning at the far post, drives it back into the 6-yard area, and there was Lamptey to put the ball behind for a corner. But Southampton there again showing promise on the counter-attack.
Yeah, and it's on that right-hand side again. They keep getting into that space, and this time the cross is fed right the way across. Manning, the other wing-back, manages to get to it, and they forced another corner.
Corner kick for Saints as a number of Brighton fans around us begin to head downstairs for their half-time refreshment. Still 2.5 minutes plus added time to play.
That's a good idea, refreshment.
Absolutely. Right. Into this near post, flicked on by Armstrong, up in the air. I'll pop down at half-time for you, Martin. And now it's cleared away on this near side. And Matoma will get there before Walker-Peters, and Matoma then had hold of Walker-Peters' shirt, and it will be a free kick.
Yeah, Walker-Peters got booked for that, didn't he?
Well, he was booked for it earlier on, but...
Yeah, he just been pulled back there by Matoma, and he didn't get booked. Anyway, we just want consistency.
Now Dibbling finding Downs, quickly on to Sugawara. Early cross into the area, Archer is there, and he puts it wide inside the 6-yard box. It was a sharp chance at the near post, but Cameron Archer in Southampton's position really needed to tuck it away.
Yeah, lovely ball whipped in there, and He's got to put that in the back of the net. He's going with the inside of his foot, and you wonder there, should that have been the outside? It bounces up, hits him on the calf. He doesn't adapt well enough. No improvisation there. Okay, there's a lot of pace on it, but he really should be hitting the target.
But it was an opportunity. And now it's cleared away by Igor for Brighton. And here is Downs. And if Southampton lose here tonight, it could be a very nervous Saturday. Following all the action on Game Day Live with Adrian Durham here on Talksport to see just how far adrift they are before the midweek round coming up next week. And they have a home game against Chelsea, so things may not get any easier before they will hope there is some sort of improvement. But at the moment, another team who have come up from the Championship are finding life really difficult back at the highest level. And if you look at the talent that Southampton sold when they were relegated, maybe that's not too much of a surprise, as two Brighton players almost go for the same ball, Van Hecke and Igor, but it's cleared away and it's back to Van Hecke again. And now Lamptey. And Lamptey will go all the way back to Verbruggen, who has kept only 2 clean sheets in his 10 games this season, as we head into a minimum of 4 more minutes at the end of the first half. Dibbling for Southampton on the far side, but it's been given away, and here is Welbeck quickly wide to Rutter on the Brighton right. Welbeck makes tracks down the centre. João Pedro peeling away to the left. Rutter now square to Matoma, 25 yards from goal. Now wide to João Pedro, breaks into the penalty area, finding Matoma, pull back looking for Welbeck. It's cleared away, and then Ayari with a challenge on Fernandez, who goes down and gets the free kick. And I thought there that Brighton were going to score the perfect goal.
Yeah, they work the ball so well, don't they? Just on the edge of the box there, Matoma, just that reverse pass, couldn't get on the end of it. It's not completely clicking for Brighton either, by the way.
No, they've had plenty of possession in those sorts of areas, and when you look at clear-cut chances that they've actually created, beyond the goal, there haven't been too much. And here is Archer coming forward now for Southampton, once again ploughing a rather lone furrow, fully 40 yards away from Adam Armstrong, and he loses out, and Brighton have the ball back.
Molest Opinion's quite high up the pitch, and that little pocket of space in between him and where he should be in the centre half, Archer keeps bombing in there.
Ayari, and he was just caught there as he looked to break over the halfway line.
Ayari's a really good example that when it goes into him, he's on the half turn and he drives forward. He wants to play forward, whereas the midfield 2 for Southampton, it's just like a backboard. You pass it to them, they pass it you back.
He's always looking to be offensive, Ayari, in the best sense of the word. But here is Dibbling, who is certainly in that category for Southampton, but they have to head back again to Lumley, who is outside his penalty area. Welbeck is daring him to try and pass the ball close to him, and now Southampton try and play out, and they're giving the ball away. Here is Matoma breaking into the penalty area. Now João Pedro, just halted by his first touch, but he fires in the shot left-footed, and it's gathered well by Lumley at the near post, and Russell Martin turns away once again with a grimace, because that was an opportunity for Brighton given to them by Southampton.
Yeah, Stevens gives the ball away, and then it just invites pressure. I don't think Pedro could actually get enough power off that. He touched it to his left foot, pulled the trigger, and he couldn't get enough power on it.
Another red card in the Championship game over on Talksport 2. 10 against 10 now. Harry Souttar, the Sheffield United central defender, has now been dismissed. Second yellow card. So there should be plenty of room out on Bramwell Lane in the second half, with both teams down to 10 players. Free kick here, given away by Flynn Downs on the far side for a shove on João Pedro. Downs, one of the players who was booked in the first half, and this is a really good opportunity on the left corner of the Saints area, deep into added time at the end of the first half. This is the 49th minute, with the Seagulls leading the Saints by 1-0. A second goal now, and surely it is all over. O'Reilly is over the free kick with Ayari. Estepinian and Lamptey are square of them. Southampton have pulled every single pink shirt back. It's O'Reilly with the outswinger, headed away by Armstrong, unchallenged. Lamptey going all the way back towards Verbruggen, who's got plenty of time. He's the only player inside his own half at the moment. He hammers it long downfield. Joao Pedro beaten to it by Harwood Bellis. Stevens with the big boot. The first time tonight we've seen that from Southampton. And it's the last kick of the first half, because the half-time whistle goes. Warm applause from the home supporters, because their team lead, thanks to an excellent header from Kaoru Matoma, matching the cross from Tariq Lamptey. Matoma stealing in behind Sugawara at the far post to nod Brighton ahead after 29 minutes. At the moment, they are heading second in the table, and the Saints will remain firmly on the bottom. Half-time, Brighton 1, Southampton 0.
Well, it's always a pleasure and a privilege to come to watch Brighton in action. Unfortunately, the Southampton players, I think, are taking that a bit too literally. They've rolled out the red carpet so far, and I guess the only positive for them is the scoreline, because it could have been more. Plenty of chances for Brighton, and good ones at that, in that opening first 45 minutes. Martin Keown, the goal came on 28 minutes, but it was after a catalogue of errors from Southampton in that opening period. You know, aside from giving the ball away really, really cheaply, which they did on multiple occasions, the intensity to close players down to get towards the ball as Brighton's possession really took control of the match just wasn't good enough. And we saw it when Tariq Lamptey was afforded way too much time to cross the ball, bouncing cross across the penalty area. And I have to say, brilliantly taken by Kaoru Matoma, but the fullback on the other side, sleeping for Southampton, really not good enough for this level of football. No,
Sugawara there. It was actually quite a good battle until that moment. Lamptey, as you say, puts a lovely ball in. It just bounces there, doesn't it? Like a bouncing bomb almost in the box, and it has to be dealt with. And Matoma, he reads it really well, improvises, comes onto it, and just tucks it away. It's a glaring chance for him. Welbeck had a chance not long before that, where nobody's really picking up. You know, there are 5 defenders there. You shouldn't be getting that kind of space. I just feel it's a little bit of the culture in the Southampton players, where they're not brave enough. We talk about bravery in so many ways, don't we? You know, put your foot in. You know, can you keep running when you're suffering? But you've also got to be brave when you receive the ball. So we talk about, you know, having a look, get sideways on, let the ball roll across your body, across your shoulders, so receive it on your back foot, and then go forward. And that's not really happening in the Southampton midfield, but it is in the Brighton one, and that's why they're playing such really pleasing football, trying to progress. You know, their wide players look really, don't they, quality at the moment. Matoma, Rutter, he keeps coming in off that right hand side on his left foot. He's had 2 or 3 opportunities. He really should have scored by now. It is, though, the kind of performance from Southampton that will draw big criticism, because at times it has felt a little bit like a training exercise for Brighton. Southampton's players just not getting close enough. That lack of real intensity and aggression that they need just to put Brighton off their stride. They just haven't managed to get to grips with the game really at all. A couple of good moments, yes, and a big chance for Cameron Archer just before half-time, but generally speaking there has been a gulf between these two sides. Yeah, but Cameron Archer is making good runs into that channel. You know, I'm pretty certain that's a part of the team talk for Brighton, that they can't allow that to keep happening. And if he could be more central and go right down the middle and then test the goalkeeper a little bit, because he has whipped a few crosses into the box, but you really want him on the end of it. Dibbling as well has run with the ball with great success, but Brighton are on to that, and you just feel, I mean, Lamptey out here, this right hand side, I do feel for him. He's had a lot of injuries, but today I think he's done everything perfectly well, and he was really important in the build up. The assist he gets for the goal was first class. Tyler Dibbling, you mentioned him before the game, clearly showing his quality, managing to get himself actually into areas of space on the half turn. He has been, I think, probably the main threat in terms of his individual talent for Southampton in that first 45 minutes. And that comes from the shape. So Sugawara gets down the right, you know, so he starts on the right wing, Dibbling, and then he moves inside into that pocket of space, and then he can be effective. But you know, that's just when they go wide. It's really how you develop play in the middle of the park, and they need to try to. You can't get past the first rung of the ladder if it is that the ball keeps going back to the back line, and they lack mobility in the back line. Stevens particularly Taylor Woodward, Harwood Bellis. They're not the most mobile. Someone's staring at me. Do you want to come and join me in the commentary box, sir? Yeah, he's right in my face here.
On the radio. We're on the radio right now. Thanks very much, though. You got fans everywhere. You are an ex-Brighton player, of course.
I think the guy was looking at me as if saying, "Is that Martin Keown?" Yes, I did. I did play here back in the day. Made my debut at Brighton Football Club, and I'm forever grateful, actually, to the chance they gave me to launch my career.
Your former club, is this first half more down to Brighton brilliance or a sorry Southampton? Who is more responsible in those two dugouts for what we've seen so far?
Well, there's a lot of good, isn't there, though, in the team that Brighton set out. You know, Danny Welbeck stays very central and very high. Matoma pretty well on the left. Just Rutter on the right. But Pedro is someone that's running wild in that midfield, coming nice and deep. So they're good players, there's no doubt. I do feel, though, that Southampton could get more from theirs. This system is not a bad system. We're seeing Manchester United play this, and they'll probably do a little bit better. I think they can do more, and they need to be braver in possession, and that's to play the ball actually forward. Archer is causing issues, and you've got to keep feeding the ball to him.
I wonder if Russell Martin will be thinking about a little tactical tweak, plan B. He's in the game, only one goal down, but on the balance of play, Southampton well behind it, and you wouldn't put your money anywhere else than a Brighton win this evening. Let's get the half-time odds with Ladbrokes.
Odds update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Get money back as a free bet up to £10 if one leg of your Football 5 Plus acca lets you down. Pre-match straight line accas only. Odds are 3-1 or greater. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
So it's currently Brighton and Hove Albion 1, Southampton 0. For the latest odds, head to Ladbrokes. Right now you can get Brighton, listen to this, 1-7 on. It's only 1-0, 1-7 on to win the game. The draw is 6-1, and the Southampton victory is 18-1. Next goal scorer odds, Danny Welbeck 11-2. João Pedro's had a few sighters, he's 5-1. Cameron Archer, big chance before the break, 10-1 to score the next goal, and a special as well for a penalty to be scored. That was 4-1. It's been enhanced to 9-2. Those are the latest odds with Ladbrokes. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Odds update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Supercharge your odds with our Odds Boost button. Selected markets applies to first £50 of stake. Terms apply. 18 plus. GambleAware.org.
Latest scores in the Euro 2025 playoff first legs for the women. 85 minutes played. Wales 1, Ireland, the Republic of Ireland 1. It's goalless between Scotland and Finland after 63 minutes. Just on the 90th minute, Northern Ireland trail Norway by 4-0. There is actually in the FA Cup second round tonight, goalless between Harrogate Town and Gainsborough Trinity on 56 minutes. And in the Scottish Cup, Dumbarton doing very well so far, 3-1 up, 55 minutes played, taking on Alloa Athletic. Big games to come across the Talksport network this weekend. Tomorrow lunchtime, exclusively live on Talksport 2, Watford taking on Queen's Park Rangers in the Championship. 3 o'clock on Talksport 2 will be Premier League action between Nottingham Forest and Ipswich. Remember, we've got Game Day live on Talksport tomorrow, 1 p.m, with Adrian Durham, Darren Bent and Scott Minto. Sunday, FA Cup second round action on Talksport 2 at midday between Kettering and Doncaster. Sunday session with Sam Matterface will be based at Anfield for that huge game in the Premier League between Liverpool and Manchester City. And there is more live Championship action on Talksport 2 on Sunday at 3 o'clock. Derby County taking on Sheffield Wednesday. Currently, Adam Cattrall out in Riyadh for the PFL World Championship finals. They take place tonight. You can follow all of the reaction. More Martin Keown fans, by the way, here at the Amex. You can follow all of the reaction on the TalkSport MMA YouTube channel. And from 10 p.m. tonight, you can listen to ball-by-ball commentary of the first test between England and New Zealand. England currently trail by 29 runs. New Zealand recorded 348 before England's reply so far of 319 for 5. Harry Brook unbeaten on 132 alongside Ben Stokes, who is 37 not out. Let's speak to Ashes winner Steve Harmison, part of our commentary team. And Steve, England survived a number of scary moments yesterday. Do you feel the score at the moment flatters them slightly?
Possibly. I think you're taken away from Harry Brook. You know, you can only give chances. You can't make the team catch them. Harry Brook dropped 4 times in that superb innings of 130. Ben Duckett dropped. Who else was dropped? Stokes has been dropped as well. So 6 catches from New Zealand dropped. England was 71 for 4 at one point, but rallied back, battled back. When the ball got flatter in the middle of the afternoon, England really did make them pay. An excellent partnership from Pope and from Pope. What a catch to get rid of Pope by Glenn Phillips. But Harry Brook got on to get the 100, and now, well, we're in a little bit of a holding pattern waiting for the second new ball. England are, like you say, 5 down, 6 overs to go for the next new ball. And if England can get through them 6 overs without any wickets lost, England will feel as though the second new ball will be a scoring option, and England will be looking, if they're batting by lunchtime, England will have a lead of in excess of 100, and if that's the case, I think England will go on and win this test match.
Could be setting up to a very nice test match out in Christchurch. You can follow all of the action, including those important opening 6 overs, on Talksport 2 from 10 p.m. Thank you to Steve Harmison there. By the way, over on Talksport 2, currently goalless in the Championship between Sheffield United and Sunderland. Half-time there as well, but the game has been full of drama.
It's Roberts against Cooper, away to our right-hand side. Couple of steps, left-footed save by Cooper, turned around the post, a terrific save low down to his left-hand side. It wasn't the best penalty.
That was Sheffield United's Michael Cooper saving a Patrick Roberts penalty before Chris Mepham was then sent off down the other end for Sunderland for fouling Tyrese Campbell as last man. In added time, Harry Souttar then sent off for a second yellow card for Sheffield United. It is now 10 aside. The second half will be live over on Talksport 2. A win will send Sunderland top of the Championship. A draw right now would be enough for Sheffield United to move to the summit. So I'm sure we'll get action and goals over on Talksport 2 this evening. But will there be more goals here at the Amex? Brighton leading Southampton by 1-0 and currently moving up to second in the Premier League table. We'll have the second 45 minutes straight after this.
Game night on Talksport with Sky Sports. Stream the biggest Premier League games, available with no contract on now. 18 plus, stream via internet, terms apply.
We all fantasize about our perfect home. Sipping a morning coffee out on the terrace. Good morning, Mr. Squirrel.
Morning.
The kids building a treehouse in the garden.
I'm living my perfect childhood.
But come on, this isn't real. Listen, if you're serious about making your fantasy a reality, find out what your home is worth instantly with a free online valuation estimate. Get real about moving. Get on the market. Most common time to obtain an online quote between 1st of April 2024 and 30th of June 2024 was under 3 minutes. Excludes Northern Ireland.
Settle down for a night of crime. Witness a heist. Follow a car chase. Eat too much popcorn. Meet a mafia boss. Join in on a bank robbery. Think about making a cup of tea. Be too comfortable to get up. For less.
Selected IKEA sofas are now at a new lower price, along with thousands of other products. IKEA, the wonderful everyday.
You don't just check in to a village hotel. You work out. You jump in. You play on. You tuck in. And drink up. Village Hotels. 33 locations with everything under one roof. A huge gym with pool and great membership opportunities. And a buzzing pub and grill with delicious food, ice-cold beers and live sport. Check out villagehotels.com and work out, stay, meet and play.
$1.29 at McDonald's gets you a mini Oreo McFlurry. $1.29 on a big night out gets you...
Sorry, no trainers.
McDonald's Saver Menu. Actually get your money's worth. From 11 a.m. Price and participation may vary. Price varies on delivery. Subject to availability.
Sack the gaffer. You need thesun.co.uk. Bagged a big move? Check out thesun.co.uk. Oh, come on, Rev! Never a pen? Read thesun.co.uk. Seen red? See thesun.co.uk. Whatever's going on in the game, whenever you want it, wherever you are, from goals to gossip and everything football, it's got to be thesun.co.uk.
Black Friday deals are now on at Screwfix with more lines added. Save £50 on the Milwaukee M18 ankle grinder bare unit for only $77.99. Save £20 on the DeWalt 18-volt 4-amp-hour XR battery, now only $39.99. And get 2 Milwaukee M18 5-amp-hour batteries for only £100. Shop on the app, online and in store. Don't miss out. Deals end 2nd of December. Subject to availability. See screwfix.com for full T's and C's.
At Betfair, we're about finding different ways to play. Like with our 90-minute guarantee. We've all been there. The clock ticks over into 90 minutes, and then a speculative cross into the box ricochets off a knee and goes in, ruining your bet. But with Betfair's 90-minute guarantee, if your bet is winning at 90 minutes or full time, we pay out. Betfair. Play different.
Applies to match odds 90 market or markets with the 90 icon. Sportsbook exclusive. Terms and conditions apply. 18 plus BeGambleAware.org.
Game night on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever the mission, home or away, Enterprise helps over 120,000 people every day.
Now Lamptey with the early cross into the penalty area. Stooping header from Matoma. And Brighton have the lead.
Well, some may say that Brighton in the Champions League is just a pipe dream, but on the basis of that first half performance, they've looked every inch a top-class football team. The only thing lacking has been more than one goal to feel truly comfortable. Caro Matoma's opener is the difference. Brighton and Hove Albion 1, Southampton 0. The second half live and exclusive on Talksport in the company of the former Arsenal Premier League winner Martin Keown and Talksport's Nigel Adderley.
Thank you, Hugh. No changes to either side at half-time. Brighton will get the second half underway, leading by a goal to nil, heading into second place in the table at the moment. Their team for Bruggen in goal. Lamptey, Van Hecke, Igor and Estepinian. O'Reilly and Ayari. Ruta, Pedro and Matoma behind Welbeck. Southampton, Lumley in goal. Walker-Peters, Harwood-Bellis and Stevens. Sugawara and Manning in the wide areas. Dibbling, Downs, Fernandez and Armstrong, and Archer is the lone striker, and he had a great chance for Southampton to equalise just before half-time, but put it wide from a couple of yards out. Brighton in the blue and white stripes, playing from right to left in the second half as we look out from our position just behind the two technical areas here at the Amex Stadium. People all around us still heading back to their seats after heading downstairs at half-time as a long ball is played forward by Van Hecke for Brighton. It's gathered on this near side by Estepinian. The early cross into the penalty area, guided away by Stevens. Now Ayari, midway inside the Southampton half. Always looks both comfortable and combative on the ball for Brighton. Into the halfway line, and Igor, and now Estepinian again, and Southampton enduring another spell of the match where they can barely get a kick. And Martin Keown, what do you feel that Russell Martin's message may have been at half-time?
Well, he wants to get it compact. He wants to retain the ball much better than they were, be a bit more confident, and he has to try and play through midfield because they weren't doing that in the first half. But they can get the ball into Archer early. They can be a threat.
But it's Lamptey who set up the first goal. Coming forward again now for Brighton down the right. Back to Ayari. High swinging brawl in. Welbeck was challenging at the far post. And the Southampton player who was with him went down looking for a free kick, Harwood-Bellis. But nothing is being given. And it's a goal kick in the end as Harrogate take the lead midway through the second half against Gainsborough Trinity in the FA Cup second round. Also half-time at Bramall Lane, 0-0 between Sheffield United and Sunderland, but one apiece in terms of red cards, and they are underway in the second half. It's finished 1-1 in the first leg of the Women's European Championship playoff final. First leg between Wales and the Republic of Ireland. Norway won 4-0 against Northern Ireland, and it's still goalless between Scotland and Finland into the second half.
Ball was nicely worked out there, but Manning has to play the ball forward and he has to keep the ball in play. They were trying to play that into Armstrong, so they can play out from the back, but the quality has to be a little bit better.
And of course, a number of these Southampton players played very well in the Championship last season, but we always talk about levels, and when you try and play in Southampton style, it becomes even more enhanced because you may be playing against players who don't press as quickly, who maybe don't have that peripheral vision in the second tier, and when you come up to this level, they all do.
Yeah, that's without doubt. The Premier League quality will catch you out in the end, and it is about in the final third, isn't it? Having that quality And we look at the number of goals Southampton have scored this season, and you're left scratching your head. Are they going to be able to score the necessary goals that they need to stay up?
Well, if they don't score tonight, it will be the fewest number of goals they've scored at this stage of a season for 100 years. As Matoma tries to break forward now, but Ayari is penalised by the referee, Rob Jones, for an earlier challenge on Dibbling, and it will be a free kick.
You know, the one player that does receive the ball on the half turn, we see him there, just gets fouled every time. Dibbling, he's dropping nice and deep into that midfield, and I think really there Russell Martin's got every right there to protest to the referee. He's not getting much protection, is he, in there?
The 18-year-old with a muddy smear right down his back onto his white shorts, with the socks rolled down around the ankles, as Southampton try to build now, and clearly getting the ball to Tyler Dibbling has been a way for them to be competitive in this game so far. Howard Bellis wide to this near side, and Sugawara, but he's under pressure from João Pedro, so he finds Lumley inside the penalty area, and Lumley just has to hurry and play it wide towards Walker-Peters, and then it's down the line from Stevens in the fullback area. But again, Armstrong and Archer have got very little to play with, and Brighton come forward down their right with Lamptey, cutting square with the penalty area, finding Welbeck, a good ball from him to pick out O'Reilly, and the cross right across the face of goal doesn't find either Matoma or João Pedro. But again, Southampton opened up.
No, it should have done. And we, as much as we credited Matoma for the first goal, I just want to have another look at this to see it's lovely worked, and it's just rifled across, and Matoma makes the run inside when maybe he should make the run outside. He puts his arm in the air to acknowledge that, but a great ball in.
Brighton heading second in the table at the moment, and this is a team who finished the previous campaign with only 4 wins in 19 games as things began to unravel under Roberto De Zerbi. But at the moment, Fabian Hürzeler is doing a wonderful job, and the youngest coach in Premier League history clearly is streetwise, as it's given away by Lumley on the edge of the penalty area. Ruter's shot is deflected, and it goes behind for a corner, and Southampton there trying to play the ball out in all the wrong areas.
Yeah, and the goalkeeper, you know, he's so lucky that he doesn't get punished for that. He just needs to put his foot on it. He has been quite composed, actually, in the first half, but whether or not someone's got in his ear and said, you know, you've got to get that ball, release it earlier, and he makes a glaring mistake.
O'Reilly with the corner kick. It's an in-swinger, high towards Van Hecke, taken off his head, but now João Pedro at the far post. Estepinian drives it through the crowd. He recovers to nod it down for Van Hecke inside the area. Now Welbeck, the cross in from João Pedro, blocked by Stevens. João Pedro picks up the rebound, looking to trick his way deep inside the 6-yard area. It's palmed away by Lumley, and in the end the flag has gone up on the far side. The ball went behind, and it's a goal kick, but it was chaos again inside the Southampton penalty area.
There was some magic there, wasn't there, from Pedro? His feet there are so quick. I mean, the referee's gone across to actually tell him, what about that? It's just like it was magical. Right foot, left foot, jinx. And in the end, it comes to nothing. I mean, there's a let off there for the goalkeeper. I'm pleased for him, actually, that he gets away with that. Because Lumley, because he did do well in the first half. He's so high out of his goal, but he does look quite calm.
52 minutes play. Brighton 1, Southampton 0 on game night on Talksport. Still goalless over on Talksport 2 in the Championship between Sheffield United and Sunderland. Both teams down to 10 men. There's Lamptey on the far side, under pressure from Manning, and the ball bobbles away off Lamptey behind for a corner in front of all those Southampton fans behind that goal.
Ayari there just gets it wrong, doesn't he? Tries to, the ball, it's the goalkeeper, plays it into feet, he whips out to Lamptey, and then good pressure from Southampton. Everyone up for this one.
And the Southampton fans hopeful rather than expectant behind that goal. Fernandez will take the corner on the far side in front of a Brighton fan unfurling a Japanese flag. It's high to the far post, taken down well by Howard Bellis, tries to cut it back to Dibbling with the cross in, and it's claimed unchallenged by Verbruggen. And again, Russell Martin saunters out to the edge of his technical area. They've had chances, Southampton, in the game, and at times they've looked bright going forward, but
they're pressing really high now, though. He's forcing this goalkeeper to hit it long.
The long ball downfield is headed away by Manning, but Saints have it back with Downs. Infield to Stevens, and now Harwood-Bellis. Downs again, turning away from Welbeck, but Southampton here do get the ball wide now to Manning, which was the intention from the start. He drives in a cross, which is way overhit, straight out of play for a goal kick. And Russell Martin was calling for that, but there's got to be better quality when they have the ball in that sort of area.
Yeah, without doubt, that's just the issue. Interesting there, Downs goes back again. When it goes wide, they do go forward, but then you need better quality.
Adam Lallana is sat just behind the Southampton bench, of course, back at his boyhood club after a long spell here.
What about that for a bit of skill? Pedro comes off, receives the ball, left foot, right foot, and just lays it off. Beautiful, clean footballer.
And he is a player who has really shone in the way that Fabian Hürzeler wants his team to play. Igor again finding Ayadi, Estepinian. And Igor playing an excellent ball in field to Matoma. And Matoma is off and running now, and he's body checked by Harwood-Bellis. Midway inside the Southampton half, Bellis turns to berate one of his teammates further downfield and then receives the yellow card.
Do you know what? That's just not good enough. That's an England international, and it shows no mobility at all. He just couldn't move. He just doesn't seem he has the mobility, and he just, in the end, he brings him down. Cynical foul. Matoma just too mobile, too quick for him.
Ayadi and Estepinian are over this free kick, and at times this game does have the look of a cup tie between a Premier League team and a Championship club, but it's still only 1-0. 10 minutes into the second half. Estepinian's delivery into the penalty area, nodded away by Sugawara, volleyed back through the crowd by O'Reilly on the edge of the box, and it's claimed well by Lumley. And again, Archer and Armstrong were looking to get forward there for the early release, but they were heavily outnumbered, and there was a huge gap behind them in the Southampton midfield.
Do you know, I think sometimes Lumley's just so delighted to make a save that he's not releasing it quick enough, because an early ball there and both strikers are flying forward.
Now Walker-Peters on the far side, just forced to retreat by the pace of a pass back to him. Lumley. Walker-Peters again, and Southampton are caught in the press here, and they could have problems. Ayadi closing down Stevens on the edge of the penalty area. Dibbling comes back to help out, and he finds Sugawara, and Sugawara back to his goalkeeper again. And Lumley this time does find Stevens, and it's wide to Manning on the far side. 56 minutes played here on Talksport, and it's Brighton 1, Southampton 0. Sugawara with a ball down the line, looking for Archer, and Southampton could be in here. Archer with the early cross into the penalty area. Armstrong was the only pink shirt in the box, and he had absolutely no chance of doing anything with that cross.
They have looked better, though, haven't they, when they play the ball forward early and Archer makes that run into the box or into that flank. But then you've got to get bodies into that final third, into the box, and they're not doing that.
You're listening to Brighton against Southampton on Talksport with Sky Sports. And don't forget, you can stream the biggest Premier League games available with no contract on Now, like this game live right now. Search Now Sports. Headed forward by Flynn Downs. And now Dibbling, just losing out to João Pedro, who slides on his back over the halfway line. But Southampton have possession, and Lumley again rather dabs it out gingerly to Sugawara. But now Southampton do have possession further up the field. Downs. Infield to Fernandez. Good ball to find Dibbling. Dibbling riding the challenge of Igor. And he's got support to his left, but it's to his right, and Armstrong, right foot shot from Armstrong is blocked, but it's still loose inside the penalty area. Armstrong again with a right foot shot, it's blocked, and then Downs! And Flynn Downs has driven in the equaliser. Russell Martin delighted, just in front of us, and Southampton, out of absolutely nothing, have come up with the equalising goal. Flynn Downs with a brilliant finish, hammering the ball home from the edge of the penalty area. It's his first goal back in the Premier League, and it's Brighton 1, Southampton 1.
Well, give credit to Southampton there, and it all starts with Dibbling in that midfield. Blasts through midfield. He can play, that boy. Takes it on the half turn. He rides the tackle, and then there's really good composure. There's one or two efforts, and it comes back out to Downing. I think 3 shots in all, and Downing buries it.
Well, it was a brilliant finish because he had to take the ball early, striking it with the outside of his right foot, and it was arrowed into the back of the net. And a jig of joy from Russell Martin, and we are back to 1-1 just before the hour here at the Amex Stadium. And for the home fans, that was not in the script, but Southampton deserve great credit because the build-up to that, the way they moved the ball forward, was very impressive.
Well, it's what we talked about. When you go into that midfield, somebody has to break the line there, and Dibbling does that. Let me tell you, he's a winger normally, but he's gone into that midfield. He's demonstrating his skill set. He's definitely got the quality for the Premier League.
And Southampton finally hit double figures in terms of goal scoring in the Premier League this season. Now João Pedro looking to take on Downs. Downs with the challenge. João Pedro, I think, made the most of that on the edge of the penalty area. Downs, of course, has been booked in the game. João Pedro went down, suggesting he knew that. And it's a free kick and only a word at the moment. And there is a scuffle in the technical area involving both benches. One or two of the Southampton backroom team not happy about the reaction of the Brighton bench.
Well, I think it was Russell Martin, actually, if we're going to name names, who wasn't particularly happy with the reaction there. I'm just watching another replay of it, and there is an arm. There is an arm from Downs. There's no doubt about that.
Well, the two coaches are now deep in conversation, and fingers have been pointed by Russell Martin, and it's a yellow card for Russell Martin, joining Fabian Hürzeler in the book.
Yeah, there's no love lost there.
Two Premier League managers, both in their 30s, and there is going to be a double change made soon by Southampton. Joe Aribo and Ryan Fraser will be coming on, and it's game on here, 1-1 on Talksport with just over an hour played.
Yeah, and 1-1 in the dugout as well, isn't it?
Yes, in terms of yellow cards. Estepinian and Ayadi over the free kick here for Brighton. Estepinian flights it high to the far post, volley towards goal by Welbeck, and it takes a deflection on the way through and goes behind for a corner. And these two clubs are South Coast rivals. It's not really a derby in terms of the geography, Martin, but it feels like a derby at the moment, doesn't it?
Well, it certainly does. A couple of changes coming here for Southampton, as you say. They want to see this corner out first.
Ryan Fraser, who was sent off in that late collapse against Leicester for Southampton, and Joe Aribo still waiting.
I think that would be Manning going off, perhaps.
You would imagine so down the left. Brighton corner, high into the area, headed away by Harwood Bellis. Estepinian's shot is deflected, and it's claimed by Lumley, and this time he looks for the early release, and he bowls it out to the halfway line, finding Armstrong. Archer is streaking down the centre. On the outside, though, it's Fernandez. Low ball in, looking for Archer, just beyond him, but he gathers the ball now at the far post, needing support. Gets it from Dibbling. All of a sudden, Southampton are in the ascendancy. Archer now played in by Stevens, but he miscontrols on the edge of the penalty area, and it's cleared away.
Yeah, it's exactly what we were asking for from the goalkeeper previously. Now they're thinking now. They're playing football, Southampton.
Walker-Peters on the far side, back in field towards Stevens again, and now Sugawara. Dibbling will try and take over. Southampton without a point away from home so far this season. Currently drawing here. And when they've conceded the opening goal on the previous 8 occasions in the league this year, they've lost all 8.
They're showing some character here. And we asked for Bottle in the second half, and they're certainly showing that with their performance.
Sugawara with a cross into the area, but it's claimed by Verbruggen. And Russell Martin still having words with both of his replacements here. And Aribo will head into midfield, so they may take Downs off, I suppose.
Well, he's the obvious person, isn't he? He's been a couple of incidents around him. He's got the goal. He might be pushing it a little bit, the way that Pedro reacted to him just earlier.
Still goalless over at Bramall Lane, over on Talksport 2. Don't forget, tomorrow, Game Day Live here with Adrian Durham on Talksport. All the goals as they go in from the Premier League, the EFL and the FA Cup second round. Watford against Queen's Park Rangers over on Talksport 2 with Faye Carruthers, Joe Shannon and Neil Redfern. Followed at 3 from the Premier League by Forest against Ipswich with Ian Danta and Perry Groves. Now João Pedro turning down the left-hand side for Brighton, finding Matoma. He went for the first time ball into the penalty area. Good challenge, though, by Stevens, and it will be a throw into Brighton. And now the change is made, and Aribo will be replacing the Southampton goal scorer, Flynn Downs, who I think has been walking a very fine line in terms of discipline at the moment. And it's Sugawara who is coming off to be replaced by Ryan Fraser. And here are the latest odds. Brighton 1, Southampton 1. Head to Ladbrokes right now. You can get Brighton at 11 to 10 on. The draw 8 to 5. Southampton still 5 to 1. All thanks to Ladbrokes. 18 plus. BigGambleAware.org.
I'm a little bit surprised Sugawara's coming off. Maybe that's the thing about fitness levels that we're not quite aware of. Maybe Walker-Peters might just go out to that right side. That's going to have to be a little bit of a change there.
Triple change incoming for Brighton, including the return of Lewis Dunk. As Igor comes forward now, swings across into the penalty area, and it's headed over the top at the far post by Rutter. It was more shoulder than head in the end, and it's high over the top. So that change, Manning will go in as the left-sided central defender, with Fraser out on the left and Walker-Peters in his more natural position playing wide on the right.
Well, that seems they want to get him forward, don't they, Walker-Peters? They had him in the middle for his mobility. Looks like Dunk's coming on as well, Weaver.
Almost given away by Southampton again on the edge of their own penalty area, but this time they get a free kick. Matoma just catching Harwood Bellis. And Max Wiefert, the Dutchman, developed by Arne Slot at Feyenoord. Lewis Dunk and Simon Adringa will all be coming on, but Dibbling with another elusive run here for Southampton. Great ball wide to the left-hand side as well. Here is Fraser scampering into the penalty area, and it's turned in by Archer, and Southampton have taken the lead. A brilliant goal orchestrated by the teenager Tyler Dibbling, and eventually finished by Cameron Archer. And Southampton, without a point away from home this season, have stunned the Seagulls. It is Brighton 1, Southampton 2.
Wow. Just talking about Dibbling again, his football is actually a lovely little nutmeg.
Well,
just the goal's been cancelled out.
The goal,
unbelievable. What a shame, though.
Has been disallowed for offside.
Yeah, it's just that little forward ball. It just goes ahead of it. I don't know whether the guy in the middle, though, is actually
Armstrong
playing.
Was offside. Not sure if Archer was.
Yeah, well, he doesn't actually touch the ball, but does he?
Was Van Hecker playing Archer on? They are checking this.
Well, I think maybe he might be. He might be all right. It's very close.
This is a massive moment in Southampton's season. Jarrod Gillett, the VAR, is checking this. And the question is, was Archer behind Jan-Paul Van Hecker? It is a very, very tight call because Van Hecker's got his knee extended.
I think he's going to be okay because I don't think he's beyond the ball. And the ball's the most important thing in this. The cheer you heard was from the Brighton faithful, hoping this doesn't count.
Well, on our monitor, we can see Jarrod Gillett at Stockley Park checking this.
It's whether or not that player in the middle, is he interfering with play? That's the key issue here. But he doesn't actually touch the ball.
I don't think he makes any difference to whether Verbruggen gets anywhere near it.
No, he can't get back. Van Hecke can't get back.
Well, they're looking at Archer at the moment. He made a great run in behind Igor to apply the finish there. And we are still waiting. This is absolutely huge for Southampton. Bottom of the table, without a point away from home, waiting to see here if they have gone 2-1 up at the Amex Stadium. Dunk, Vifa and Adringa are still waiting to come on as well.
Do you want to talk through these pitches? I'm just looking at Lamptey and I'm thinking he is a little bit deeper. He's deeper than Archer.
Yes, could be Lamptey playing him on rather than Van Hecke.
And if that's so, then this should be pretty simple to put those lines across. That's what we're waiting on.
Well, the on-field referee, Rob Jones, is still waiting here. And they are continuing to focus in on Archer, but it's not really Archer, it's where...
No, but do they feel the keeper comes into this? Because the player in the middle...
Armstrong.
Yeah, the player in the middle, does the keeper get drawn to the ball? And it doesn't actually make it to him, but he's in an offside position.
Well, the lines haven't been put in yet. Rob Jones is having a conversation with Ryan Fraser, who may be thinking he's got an assist riding on this. Of course, Cameron Archer's got a goal riding on this. Now they put the lines in. And he's onside.
Yeah.
From what we have seen, the goal will be given. They're still awaiting confirmation in the stadium. But the line went green. There was an indication he was onside when the ball was played. The question is, was Armstrong interfering with Verbruggen? I don't think he was.
I don't think he was. And I think really we've had a lot of time to deliberate. And it became very obvious there that I thought Lamptey was keeping him onside actually, and Archer then he doesn't make contact with it. Are they having another look at it?
Well, they may be looking to see if Van Hecke
they think
made
maybe
any contact, or possibly Armstrong. I don't think either of them did.
Well, does it touch him on the arm? That's the thing. And does the goalkeeper then get drawn away? Does it play a part in the goalkeeper's line?
Well, we know that Archer is onside. Now they are making the check. And Rob Jones has disallowed the goal. Well, it must be Armstrong who was offside. Yeah, Adam Armstrong has been shown to be offside, not Cameron Archer.
Well, I don't even think that he touches the ball there, but obviously they're thinking because he's offside that somehow that's affected the goalkeeper's positioning. That's taken an age, by the way.
Yeah, Tariq Lamptey is coming off. Joao Pedro is coming off along with Matt O'Reilly. And it will be Simon Adringa, Max Vifa and Lewis Dunk who comes on to take the captain's armband for Brighton. Hasn't played since the win at Newcastle on the 19th of October due to a calf injury. And this is 250th Premier League appearance. Of course, Brighton born, like the Southampton manager, Russell Martin. Well, Lizzie Minter, our producer, has pointed out that took 5 minutes.
Yeah, that is just far too long. Far too long.
It is finished. Scotland 0, Finland 0 in the Women's Euro qualification. And Harrogate still lead Gainsborough in the FA Cup second round into added time at Wetherby Road. And it's still goalless with around 17 minutes to play at Bramall Lane between Sheffield United and Sunderland. Sunderland only ever seem to draw at the moment.
I get there's a process there, but if Armstrong is clearly offside, or they deemed to be, well, giving the ball away again there.
Lumley's given the ball away. Matoma finding Welbeck. And now Ayadi. It's wide to the far side, and Adringa with the cross in, and the acrobatic volley from Ruta takes a deflection and goes wide for a corner.
Yeah, I'm just trying to work out which player it's come off, but again the goalkeeper gives the ball away and just invites a shot at goal, and I think very fortuitously that's come off a defender. It's come off his chest, hasn't it? I think it was Howard Bellis.
Flying towards the net from Jorginho Ruta, who was the assist king in the Championship for Leeds last season. 15 of them. Ayari with the corner here for Brighton, who need a response because they've been second best for a spell in this second half. The corner is flicked on, high to the far post, and Lewis Dunk, with what I think was his first touch, loops the header high over the top.
Yeah, he just heads the bottom of the ball and it just flies up. He's got to get that, as he knows. Normally he's great in the air. Still playing out from the back here, Southampton. You think they might have just gone long with this? Not a bit of it.
You're listening to Brighton against Southampton on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has vans of all shapes and sizes. So, if you've got a plan, they've got a van. Vifa now for Brighton. The Dutch international signed from Feyenoord. And he flips it wide to the far side. And Adringa, early cross into the penalty area. Lofted high and wide by Stevens inside the 6-yard box. And it's another Brighton corner. And as we head towards the final 15 minutes here on TalkSport, the Seagulls planning the big finish.
Yeah, and Adringa coming on just demonstrates the quality they have sitting on the bench here.
Yep, scored on the opening day of the Premier League season at Everton. Simon Adringa, the Ivorian international, but he offers a real threat down the right-hand side, and they've got so much depth on the bench here this evening. The corner kick swung towards the near post, looking for Vifa, and Archer, who was denied that go-ahead goal for Southampton, dives in to head the ball behind. In the context of their season, a point would still be a very good result.
I think we'll be hearing an awful lot about that goal afterwards.
The corner flicked on by Vifa at the near post. Will bring you live reaction from the tunnel in the sports bar on TalkSport following this game. We'll be hearing from Russell Martin and Fabelin Herzler. Russell Martin was kind enough to join us along with his Brighton counterpart. Before the game on TalkSport, we were live from the Amex Stadium with Drive, and I spoke to Russell in the tunnel before the game, and he was hopeful his team could perform on his hometown stage, and in the second half they have. And here is Archer again, finding Aribo. Archer was caught late there by Igor off the ball, and Aribo does well to maintain possession. Wide to Walker-Peters, who looks much more comfortable playing down the right. Dibbling now, looking to tease Estepinian.
He's gone wider, hasn't he, Dibbling? Just showing this class now here. They look better now, suddenly, Southampton. Aribo looks like he's given him a little bit more steel, perhaps, in that midfield.
Tyler Dibbling will be playing in the Premier League next season, whatever happens to Southampton, you feel?
Yes, you're bang on.
Only 18 years of age, already an England under-21 international. Archer finding Dibbling again, clipped inside to Fernandez. Archer makes the run into the penalty area, but the pass never finds him. And now Welbeck on towards Ruta. Smart turn from him beyond Walker-Peters, and Ruta using the ball well, finding Van Hecker down the right-hand side. Adringa now. And it'll be a real test for Ryan Fraser to cope with him, and Armstrong coming back to help him out more and more now, as Manning, part of the midfield or central defensive trio now, is clipped by Adringa, and it will be a free kick.
Just looking at Weaver coming on for Brighton, he has to do better. He's giving the ball away a little bit in there. You come here from Brighton, all manner of players from everywhere, and you want to make sure you do the basics well. He's just giving it away a little bit.
Max Weaver won the Eredivisie with Feyenoord under Arne Slot. And of course Brighton seem to have scouts where no one else does across Europe and beyond, and they sign very few duds, if any. High ball played forward now by Harwood Bellis, and he's picked out Armstrong further wide towards Fraser again. Fraser delivering the cross into the penalty area over the head of Dibbling, who'd come inside, but it's gone behind for a goal kick.
Ferguson's coming. Matoma looks like he's coming over to this near side. Will it be him who comes off?
Well, Evan Ferguson coming off the bench for the 7th time this season. Joe Lumley has got a problem, the Southampton goalkeeper. Surely they're not going to lose another one. I mean, Alex McCarthy's on the bench, but Russell Martin told us before kick-off that he's not fit enough, really. But they haven't got anyone else at the moment.
I think he might have cramp. All the nerves he has around him.
I was going to say, how do goalkeepers get cramp?
Well, do you know what? He has been involved a hell of a lot because he's been pushing up really high. I think it's Welbeck who's coming off, actually, for Ferguson.
Evan Ferguson coming on.
We talked about Ferguson before the game and people talking cheekily about will he go out on loan. Now is when they need him. This can be his night now.
And they've also got to be practical as well that, you know, if Danny Welbeck does pick up an injury, then he's next in line, isn't he?
100%. He'll see this as a golden opportunity. The goalkeeper's still getting treatment there. He's got 2 physios out there working on him. Southampton goalkeeper.
Still goalless over on Talksport 2 at Bramall Lane. Sunderland heading for yet another draw, but a draw at Bramall Lane would be a very good result. Harrogate Town are the first team through to the third round of the FA Cup. They've beaten Gainsborough Trinity by a 1-0. You can follow all of the action as part of Game Day Live tomorrow with Adrian Durham. Our exclusive commentary is at noon on Sunday with Flo Pollock and Adrian Clark. Kettering, who caused a massive upset, beating their local rivals Northampton away from home in the first round. They're at home to League 2 Doncaster, and the FA Cup third round draw will be live on Talksport during kick-off on Monday. It's due to start around 7:10. Aribo coming forward now for Southampton. Wide to Dibbling. He's the danger man down the right-hand side. Dibbling comes in field again. Goes for goal. Left-footed towards the near post. And it's well seen by Verbruggen.
Yeah, that's nice. He's almost like a left-footed Grealish, isn't he? Socks right down. Willing to take people on. Lovely feet there. Gets the shot off.
Well, he does have a Premier League goal so far in the draw against Ipswich. Had a spell in the academy at Exeter City, and now a team and a club who produced so many good players over the last couple of years. As Fraser now collides with, I thought, one of his teammates. It's Manning who's gone down. The free kick's been given to Southampton anyway for the Brighton player who was in the vicinity.
I think it was Ferguson, wasn't it? Just leans his body in. Just cleans out 2 players. That physicality about him.
Yeah, he rather took a ride on Ryan Manning's back, having seen the monitor, and it will be a free kick. Inside the final 10 minutes here on Talksport, the Sports Bar coming up at the end of this game. 03717 223344. Jason Cundy and Carlton Cole taking your calls on this game. And anything else ahead of another big weekend of football on the Talksport network. As Lumley clips it wide to the far side. Down the line, looking for Lewis Dunk. And Dunk will guide it back towards Verbruggen. And at half-time, Brighton looked to be very well set in this game, but Russell Martin and his team deserve the plaudits because they've made it a real game after a match which was one-sided at times in the first half.
They feel hard done by that goal when they see that back. I feel it's a little bit harsh.
Considering the speed of the cross, I
don't think it's in the spirit of the game.
No.
Do you?
Well, did Armstrong distract?
Well, it took him a full 5 minutes to find that out. And again, it was interpretation rather than fact. I'm not sure they could see that he touches that ball. I don't think Armstrong touches it. It's whether the goalkeeper, though, gets engaged with what could have been, couldn't it? If he gets to that ball, Armstrong, the goalkeeper adjusts for that eventuality, but he didn't touch it.
Tom Davis, very late in the game, has given Sheffield United the lead against Sunderland over on Talksport 2. 8 minutes to play there. Sheffield United heading top of the table as it stands. Armstrong with the cross in here for Southampton. Cleared away. Dibbling goes for a big volley, but never gets hold of it on the edge of the penalty area. Vifa clears. Nodded back in field by Fernandez. Dibbling does well to recover it, but then he's lost out. Here is Ferguson down the centre, but Walker-Peters gets there first, but play will be brought back for an earlier Southampton foul, and it's a Brighton free kick just inside their own half. And we have less than 8 minutes to play here, and it was Dibbling who didn't just catch Rutter, he brought him down with something approximating a rugby tackle.
Yeah, something similar.
Now Estepinian Matoma riding the challenge of Fernandez, coming in field. Wide towards Ayari down the left. The early cross into the area. Headed clear by Stevens, but Ayari again. Now Matoma. Estepinian in the left wing position. Matoma wanders across to join him, but it's Vifa who goes back in field. Dunk charging forward now. The scoop over the top, nodded on by Rutter, but cleared away by Stevens again. And at the moment, Southampton have gone very, very deep.
Yeah, they've all just sat in, haven't they? I wouldn't say quite edge of the box because they're trying to edge out. They recognise they don't want to get trapped in there.
Now the Brazilian Igor brings it forward again. High over the top, looking for Estepinian, who tries to deliver across the face of goal, but the ball had gone behind, and it's a goal kick. And Southampton fans away to our right will be scrutinising their timepieces. 6 minutes to play. They are 6 minutes away from their first point away from home in the Premier League. And if they're looking to build something, it's got to start somewhere, and it could be starting here tonight.
Well, it will take them a point closer to Crystal Palace, who are obviously sinking down the table. Pretty certain they'd have been happier if they'd have been in front right now, and I think they probably deserve to be, really. And not maybe on the play that we've seen here, but certainly that goal looked legitimate to me.
Chelsea at home, Villa away, their next two games in the Premier League. Yankuba Minte will be coming on shortly for Brighton. And Brighton on Thursday go to Fulham in the Premier League. And then they'll be meeting up with Ruud van Nistelrooy's Leicester City. His appointment was confirmed live on Talksport earlier on this evening. The Brighton coming forward again now. And increasingly this game is becoming attack against defence.
It is. And I think, Minter's coming on as well. It just shows you the array of talent here. They spent 200 million in the summer, and it's just one player after another.
But here comes Southampton on the breakaway. Armstrong finding Fraser now. Down the left-hand side, the cross in, looking for Archer. It's cleared up in the air by Igor, cleared away initially. Nodded down by Aribo, wide to the far side. Fraser with another cross in, but Dunk is there at the near post.
Showing really good character here, Southampton. And again, it's on the break. This is down to Brighton. Can they play the football? They need to.
Here is Matoma now, looking to do that. Taking on Stevens, but it was the challenge from Manning which won it back. But Brighton quickly play it forward, looking for Ferguson. And it's cleared away. The game incredibly stretched now.
It is. They're only leaving 3 players behind at all times, Brighton. Really going for it.
Estepinian on this near side is really pushed on now. As the ball forward from Dibbling doesn't find Armstrong, and it's claimed by Verbruggen. And they're bringing on another wide player, Minte, in a few moments' time.
Yeah, and he's another great player, by the way. He's only been besieged a little bit with injury. Started the season incredibly well. Another new signing.
And Kalmadine Sulemana will be coming on for Southampton once he pulls his shorts up. They were rather low down, but he will be on shortly. The Ghanaian international. As it's brought forward again by Adingra. Promising run from him, infield from the right-hand side. Ayari. And now Estepinian picking out Matoma. Brighton here pushing again in towards Adingra inside the penalty area. Forced out though by Dibbling. But here is Estepinian with the cross into the penalty area. Van Hecker's forward to nod it down. Ayari has got time to bring it down, and in the end he lofts it too high.
Ayari should hit that first time. I think an overhead kick would have been better. 2 substitutions here, 1 apiece.
I think that's maybe what he thought about Ayari, but then he just checked himself.
Yeah, and gets it wrong, doesn't he?
And it's Jorginho Rutter, who's taken 1 or 2 knocks in the second half, who comes off for Brighton to be replaced by Yankuba Minte. And Sulemana coming on for Cameron Archer, who was denied what could have been the winning goal by VAR here.
Well, I feel he's unlucky.
Well, he looks disappointed as he makes his way towards the bench. And we have 2 minutes of normal time to play. Brighton 1, Southampton 1. A break again by Matoma down this near side, the left. Ferguson waits at the near post, but Sulemana is there to cut out the ball, but Southampton have given the ball away cheaply. Sulemana, though, snaps into the challenge to almost win it back from Estepinian, but here is Estepinian with the cross high into the penalty area. Nodded clear at the far post by Stevens, and now Ayali looking to pick his way through, but as he goes down on the edge of the area, Southampton clear.
It's all a little bit frantic, isn't it, from Brighton? I don't know whether this feeling of moving into the top four or into second has just taken away some of their composure.
We've got more information on the disallowed goal coming up in a second, but here is Matoma wide towards this near side, and the cross in is guided away. Estepinian's delivery cleared by Harwood Bellis, and the pressure still building.
It's a little bit hopeful, Nigel. You just need a little bit more quality. Keep playing your football, one touch, two touch. All credit to Southampton because they're very difficult to beat right now.
Well, apparently, according to the Premier League Match Centre, the referee's call of no goal was confirmed by VAR. Armstrong was in an offside position and deemed to be impacting Verbruggen's ability to play the ball.
Well, we called that, didn't we?
But was he?
Well,
Estepinian with the cross in, and it's headed away at the near post.
I think it was harsh. One thing is clear, though, this fella's quality, by the way.
Dibbling, yeah, on the ball again, but he just twists and turns himself straight out of play, and then he clashes with Estepinian. And Rob Jones just telling them to calm down as we tick towards the final 25 seconds of normal time. Well, it's a point, I'm sure, which will be debated by Southampton fans for the rest of this weekend. But here is Estepinian coming forward now, but he won't fasten onto the ball forward from Igor, because if you look at the pace of that cross into the penalty area, 10 minutes of added time, by the way, so plenty of time for either side to win this. Such was the pace of the cross. Was Verbruggen thinking, well, Armstrong's going for it? Would he have got there anyway?
No, I don't think it has any impact. And we talk about the spirit of the game and an overview, and I just feel if it takes you 5 minutes to come to that conclusion, then it's the wrong one. We're losing, aren't we? That spontaneity, that kind of feeling of, you know, for me, they got that completely wrong. It took them far too long as well to come to that decision.
Sulemana coming forward now. Vifa wins it back, but he fouled him, and it will be a free kick. And we have ticked into the first of those 10 added minutes. And Ben Brereton Diaz is coming on now to replace Adam Armstrong, the Chilean international. He's one of few South Americans not playing for Brighton, it seems. Scored 6 times for Sheffield United last season, and you're watching a replay on the monitor of the disallowed goal again.
Well, the goalkeeper does get engaged with the initial cross. For those of you that are out there listening to us, it's one of those where, you know, it depends what opinion you take, but I felt it was a little bit harsh.
Well, we'll get Russell Martin's views live on Talksport at the end of this game. Ben Brereton Diaz, though, did score goals for Sheffield United on loan from Villarreal last season, but his record in the Premier League is no wins, 5 draws, 16 losses. Brighton coming forward now. The ball into Adingra with the header, and it's into the arms of Lumley.
It was comfortable. Not the best of headers. Again, a flowing move. Better, though, from Brighton. Getting it out wide, and then it comes back into the box, and it's just headed it into the ground. Any power in that header was just dissipated by heading it into the ground.
Minte with the cross in. He's taken the position on the right. So Adingra.
We have had 10 minutes of extra time here. There is plenty of time here for Brighton.
Van Hecker coming in field again. Back to Vifa. And now Igor for Brighton. Heading towards the 93rd minute here on Talksport as Ayali goes down inside the penalty area. And he wants a penalty, but in fact he's the player who's been penalised.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with that. I'm not going to argue with that with the referee. I think he's trying to get a free kick there.
Harwood Bellis was the player.
Yeah, he's fouling. There's no doubt. It's a good call from the ref.
Free kick for Southampton. And we are into the 94th minute here. 1-1 the score on Talksport on game night. It has been a fascinating game, and if it finishes in a draw, it's an outcome that very few people would have anticipated, but maybe Southampton could win it. Here is Fraser coming forward now. The cross into the penalty area just over the head of Brereton Diaz and claimed by Verbruggen. The early release from him. And now Van Hecker charging over the halfway line. He's got Adringa and Minte ahead of him on the right, but he heads into trouble. And in the end, the challenge comes in from Brereton Diaz, and it's a throw-in to Brighton on the far side.
I think there's an example, isn't there, where you're playing the occasion, you're not playing with your head. I think it's got to a few of these Brighton players, this dizzy heights that they are at the moment. They just need to keep doing the basics well.
Southampton have conceded 3 goals after 90 minutes this season. And of course they lost that game against Leicester in about the 98th minute. Now Van Hecker coming forward now. Minte makes the run into the penalty area. It's beyond him and Mitoma, but kept in play by Estepinian. Mitoma again. Estepinian's got Ayari in support, but Mitoma now threads it into the penalty area looking for Adingra. Really tried to thread the eye of the needle there in the end, and it's gone beyond Adingra.
Too much, Nige, too much on the ball, too much pace. Looking a little bit dejected, a bit deflated, some of these Brighton players. Big opportunity here tonight.
Well, they were second when Mitoma scored the goal, but at the moment it would be a 4th draw at home in the Premier League to add to their 3 wins. And that disallowed goal is going to be a major discussion point across this Premier League weekend, you feel. Sheffield United have beaten Sunderland by 1-0, and they are top of the Championship. They always seem to find a way, particularly at Bramall Lane, as Brighton have given the ball away, but Brereton Diaz unable to do anything with it. If it stays like this, Brighton will still move up into second place on goals scored ahead of Manchester City. Estepinian with the cross in. Mitoma looking to break towards the edge of the penalty area. And then Ayardi with a late challenge on Walker-Peters on this near side. Walker-Peters is saying, look, I got booked for less.
Yeah, and you know, you're just looking at it and you're wondering, just on the counter-attack, is there something here still for Southampton? I know they've taken Armstrong off and they've taken off Archer. It's a shame, really, because there's still opportunities here. The throwing, if they were to lose this Brighton because they've lost it trying to win it, it's a desperation here from Brighton. Need to be calm, free in their minds to play their football they need to.
Igor back towards Dunk. And now Van Hecker on the far side, almost playing as a right winger now at times, the central defender. Minte looking to take on Fraser in towards Adingra inside the penalty area, but covered well by Stevens. He hammers the ball away. 96.5 minutes played here on Talksport. Brighton 1, Southampton 1. We've still got 3.5 minutes at least of added time to play, and Brighton have a throw in by the corner flag on the far side there right. Thrown back to Dunk. And now back towards Minte again. Now he delivers the cross in over the head of Ferguson. And it's claimed by Lumley, who thought about the early bowl out to Dibbling. That was the ball, really, but he plays it short to Fernandez. But here is Dibbling now. Walker-Peters steaming forward on the overlap. Dibbling comes in field, but he's run into traffic. But he was fouled, and the yellow card has been shown to Mats Vifa.
Well, that's been a real feature, isn't it, of the game tonight. Dibbling bursting through that midfield, and Brighton just not able to deal with him.
Would Dibbling be a contender for your player of the match?
Well, I think he's up there, without doubt. I've enjoyed watching Archer as well, running into those channels. Just haven't seen the football from Brighton tonight.
Particularly not in the second half, but it's a free kick here, which Fernandez will take for Southampton. They could still win it, of course, with 2.5 minutes of added time to play. Fernandez high towards the far post. It's nodded back into the 6-yard area, looking for Sulemana, but hammered to safety by Dunk. Manning on the far side plays it straight out of play. It will be a throw-in for Brighton. Back to Van Hecker. And there was such a sense of excitement outside the stadium earlier on when the Brighton fans arrived, anticipating a home victory and more progression under Hurlitzer, but they may still be second at the end of the evening, but not in the manner that they would have wanted. Played wide towards the far side now, and Minte with the cross in, and it's cleared away, and I'm told that by Hugh, our presenter, that Brighton will be ahead of Manchester City on the head-to-head record because they both scored the same number of goals and conceded the same number of goals. Played back wide now to Van Hecke. He drives it in. Looked good from 30 yards right-footed, but it's a comfortable save for Lumley.
Yeah, Lumley there diving on the ground, and so he might waste a bit of time. I actually think he's had a good evening. A lot of pressure on him.
Well, plenty of Brighton fans making their way past us now, and they look a bit disappointed. There's always a sense of deflation when you take the lead in a game and don't see it out.
I think it's all part of the learning, isn't it? As they develop into this area, into the top four.
Into the 100th minute. Matoma takes a ball down high into the penalty area. Adringa, it's deflected wide. What a save by Lumley. Lumley maybe saved Southampton a point there. In the 100th minute, Adringa's deflected shot, and Lumley, on his Premier League debut at the age of 29, has kept Southampton alive in the game.
Well, maybe we're giving him too much credit. It might have hit the post, but never mind. He certainly did well.
Here's an opportunity now. Is it a penalty? Well, the flag is raised for offside. Brighton want a penalty as the ball was played in, but the flag was raised on the far side, but it didn't go across the assistant's chest. It's offside.
Well, I wondered if it was a foul. And of course, obviously, if he's offside, that doesn't happen. But if he's not offside,
it was a Yari who was involved at the far post.
He's offside.
He's offside. But he was caught by Fraser. It was a clumsy challenge. And we are into the 101st minute. But we can hear the Southampton fans. I think they will view this as a step in the right direction. It will certainly be a point in the right direction, and the way they played in the second half.
Well, without doubt, I think they did well. The changes at the right time. We're looking at Dibbling there on our screens, and clearly he is felt by the broadcaster that he's the man of the match. I think the goalkeeper did exceptionally well. His kicking's been first class, by the way, which was an improvement for them.
Headed forward now by Stevens. And now Ferguson has it for Brighton. Fernandez. High ball over the top. Looking for Sulemana. And the ball strikes Sulemana on the heel. If he gathered that, he was away.
Well, I couldn't have said it better myself.
Now Fernandez is down on the far side for Southampton, but Matoma comes forward now. Ooh. And Matoma has been taken out on this near side by Dibbling. It'll be a yellow card for the teenager, and a free kick for Brighton here, about 20 yards out on the left corner of the penalty area in the 102nd minute. This is it.
Yeah, Dibbling there. He's the wrong side of play there. He tries to make a tackle. When Matoma starts to motor, out of fear, he puts the challenge in.
Well, this is the game right here. A free kick for Brighton. Everybody, bar Bart Bruggen, is around the Southampton penalty area.
Well, they're going to defend it almost like a corner, aren't they? They're not sitting edge of the box. They're going right in there to the 6-yard box. I wonder if this is going to land on the head of Ferguson.
Lewis Dunk is also forward. Minte and Estepinian over the free kick. In the 13th minute of added time, Brighton looking for the winning goal here. Southampton are very, very deep. Van Hecke and Ferguson, the players offering the real height, with Dunk at the far post looking to make his charge late into the area. Minte's free kick flicked on by Van Hecke, and it's wide, and that is that. Southampton get their first point away from home in the Premier League this season. Brighton are up to second, but not in the manner they wanted to. And there are words exchanged between Russell Martin and Fabian Hürzeler at the end of the game. The two benches emptying in front of us, and there is lots of pushing and shoving and posturing more than anything else. But the ill feeling in the technical area is persisting right to the end of the game. But Southampton will regard this as real progress. Flynn Downs with the equalising goal in the second half to Karu Matoma's first half header. Brighton up into second on their head-to-head record above Manchester City. But in the second half, Southampton deserved their point, and the disallowed goal will be talked about for some time. Full time, Brighton 1, Southampton 1.
Well, is that what VAR is for? To deny teams fighting for survival vital points, to deny fans moments of ecstasy, to deny a manager under huge pressure a victory that could help save their job. What's Howard Webb going to tell us about that one then? A whole 5 minutes waiting, wondering what's the issue, only to be told by someone at Stockley Park that Adam Armstrong was interfering. He was clearly offside. So what took so long? Someone tell me what took so long. 03717 223344. You can have your say with the Sports Bar Weekender here on Talksport. And Fox's supporters, you can react to the news of your new manager, Ruud van Nistelrooy, as well. The news from the Premier League Match Centre that the referee's call of no goal, checked and confirmed by the VAR, that Adam Armstrong was in an offside position and deemed to be impacting the goalkeeper Bart Verbruggen's ability to play the ball. Martin Keown, do you agree?
Well, look, you know, there is a process, okay, and we have to show respect to what's happening, but I think they could have got to it much quicker. They wanted to ascertain if he was onside or not. Once they got to that, and that took, well, probably 4 minutes or so. And then was it the goalkeeper? Was the goalkeeper engaged by the movement of Armstrong in the initial movement as that ball came across, who's in the middle? It goes to the far post, and then Archer scores. So it's one of those where, look, I understand the workings out and how long it took, but in the moment, I think it should have stood. It should have stood, and it took far too long. We were there for nearly 5 to 6 minutes watching this. I think they could have got to that conclusion much quicker.
The process obviously pointless, because we were shown inside the stadium that Cameron Archer was onside, which is irrelevant if Adam Armstrong, who was clearly offside, was interfering with play. Yeah. Ultimately, we'll get the reaction of the two managers very, very shortly on that one, and I'm sure all of those ex-officials across the media are going to tell us what they think and likely support VAR and the PGMOL.
They probably will, because that's the stance. People want to do that. It does whistle across the box, and I don't think Armstrong was ever going to get anywhere near it at any point. And Verbruggen has to come across to sort of deal with that, doesn't he? And then I don't think he could have saved it either way, but there you go.
On the game itself, Southampton absolutely delighted to take a point. It could have been more, and there's real dejection on the faces of the Brighton players as they trudge off. Was it complacency in that second half, because it felt almost too easy in the first 45 minutes?
I just feel it's just the newness about being in this situation, as how this club is travelling. You know, there's some wonderful talent, and all they're really guilty tonight is of overplaying, of being a bit anxious, and that's something they're going to have to learn. I think it got very touchy between the two managers. Whether that stopped Fabian from thinking about Hürzeler in the way he needed to. Players were coming on, lots of them, from the bench, and it was all a bit hurried, and it didn't seem to have the usual purpose. But credit Southampton, they just sat in, they were hard to beat, and they looked really dangerous on the break. There's no doubt of that.
A springboard for them after the last couple of performances, really.
I think they can take some confidence. I like the look of Dibbling. They look resolute at the back. Archer, you know, he should be playing more often, and he should be playing in that central position, and they need to look for him far more. And I thought the goalkeeper tonight, Lumley come in and did a really good job, solid with his kicking, and he can be proud of his work here tonight. Vital
point for Southampton away at Brighton. Elsewhere tonight in the Women's Euro 2025 playoff first legs, finished Wales 1, Republic of Ireland 1, Northern Ireland 0, Norway 4, and goalless between Scotland and Finland. Second legs to be played on Tuesday evening. Over on Talksport 2, Tom Davis got the winner for Sheffield United. 3 points clear now at the top of the Championship. They beat Sunderland by 1-0. 6 games without a win for the Black Cats. 8 clean sheets in a row at home for the Blades. In the FA Cup second second round, Harrogate 1, Gainsborough Trinity 0. And in the Scottish Cup, Dumbarton 3, Alloa Athletic 2. Time now for us to pick our man of the match with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
Man of the match on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever the mission, home or away, Enterprise helps over 120,000 people every day.
I think I know who you're going to say, Martin.
Yeah, Tyler Dibbling was really impressive tonight, receiving that ball. I think he sets up the goal that they score, and I think he's heavily involved in the one that was disallowed. So, no, really coming of age, 18 years of age, and you can see Brighton have picked up a lot of talent, but they haven't picked up him.
Exactly. Bright future ahead of the England under-21. He is our man of the match from today's game with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.